Hello everybody, this beautiful Friday evening. We are here for the MC Motorsport Bathurst Endurance Challenge at Mount Panorama, special one-off multi-class event put on by the crew at MC Motorsport, which run a variety of fantastic leagues here on iRacing in the AusNZ sim racing scene. Bringing it to you live here on Simple Racing Broadcast is myself, Rhys Gardiner, with Dean Biggles Hopton alongside me in the commentary box and also producing behind the scenes. Well, Dean, I'm looking forward to this one. We've got a 3-hour race ahead of us with a few different classes and some cars that we don't usually see competing in high-profile events anymore. This is going to be a fun one.
You should, yeah, absolutely. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in on this out there. Where is the stream? Yep, good luck. Here it is. It's out. It's and exciting. Yeah, you said GTEs, LMP3s, and then the Radicals. So I'll tell you what's going to be a bit of fun. And of course, it is a fun race. It's just a special multi-class event.
Yeah, certainly it is. As you can see there, power and fuel restrictions. Every class has a fuel tank restriction. And the GTEs are the only class that run with 100% of their power. So it's going to result in some interesting pit strategies. The cars have been balanced so that basically any class can be in contention for overall victory, but every class is going to have to pit a different amount of times. I am told that the GTEs should pit 3 times over the course of this race. The Radicals should pit 4 times, and the LMP3s ought to go through the pits 5 times over the course of the 3 hours, with differing pit lane transit times and the fuel tank restrictions working into that. You know, it's all a bunch of maths and numbers and whatchamacallits, but at the end of the day, all you got to know is anyone can win this one no matter what car you're driving.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic, the way that they've configured that to happen. So it's going to be, yeah, not just dominated by one particular car class like you see generally in split multi-class events. So that's going to be something to look out for. Of course, in being an endurance race, my friend, and being Bathurst, where the fences come and bite you, it's not just all the animals in Australia. There's also a thing called Bathurst, and certainly the mountain can conquer you if you make a little mistake, which generally is pretty hard to avoid, isn't it, an endurance race? Because that's concentration level through the roof.
Yeah, absolutely. But the prize is definitely going to be worth it. There's $100 in cold hard cash going to the overall winner of this event, and the winners of the other 2 classes will gain free entries into MC Motorsport's next series, whichever they decide to choose. So it's going to be a very nice run up there for victory. We're going to go through the grid by class, I believe, but everyone is going to be on the grid together. So Dylan Gray in the Pacific Esports Racing 152 is on the overall pole position in his BMW M8 GTE. Michael Whiting second in the GTE class. Paul Warwick and Matthew Neal on row number 2, with Pete Manette and Chris Crote on row 3. We've got Simon A there on 7th place alongside Wayne Shepherd, and then Aidan Harris and Benjamin Hornibrook rounding out the top 10. Moving on back, we have PJ Whiteman and Andrew Proctor and our very own Jared Cole taking up the end of the GTE class as the field's starting to move away under pace car already. Let's get through this quickly. Doug Gowan's on pole in Radical and second overall, with Ian Ward just behind him, Jackson Austin and Troy Hollingworth on 3rd and 4th, with Michael Brennan and Trevor Mortimer rounding out your 6 Radicals taking part in this event. Then it's the LMP3s. Angus Milne, the Everything Simulated Racing car on pole, with Jared Burns, Mitch Curry, Lucas Harvey, Michael McMillan, Dean Powell, Dan Bartosh, Isaac Edwards, Travis Harris and Brian East rounding out your top 10 there. And there's only 10 LMP3s, so we got through that in time. The grid is on, and here we go. Dylan Gray going to lead the charge to the green flag. 3 hours around Mount Panorama begins now. And we are away. The Radicals are going to put down their power much quicker than the GTEs, but let's see where Dylan Gray gets his advantage here at the inside into turn 1, and we've got caution in turn 1. We've got a car around already. It looks like Lucas Harvey in the 764 LMP3 entry. And unfortunately, that is going to be a poor start to the race for him. But it appears that the rest of the field has gotten off to a clean start. Dylan Gray blasting past Doug Gowans on the way into turn 2, as that's very wide for Ian Ward in the Pink Pig liveried Radical. He's going to fall back a couple of places as they come up to the mountain for the first time. And this is where the Radicals are really going to have to try and get around that big wide M8, because they are faster through the corners.
Yeah, they're not going to be very happy to see that Dylan Gray there at the moment, but I reckon it's going to be down Cod Rod Straight. It's going to be very, very interesting to see that downforce. Look at them starting to form a bit of a gap at the moment as well, too.
Yeah, it looks to me like the top 4 of the Radicals are really keeping pace with Dylan Gray. And we'll see how they hold on here. Got to remember that the Radical has, it has a smaller fuel tank than the GTE. Full stop, but there is a bit more of a fuel tank restriction for the Radical than there is for the GTE class, so we'll have to wait and see how that affects the pit strategy. Out at a Conrod Straight, this is the point where you see Dylan Gray start to pull away from Doug Gowans, but Doug is just in the slipstream, big hole being punched through the air by the big M8, and now we'll try our best to get into a rhythm here. Top of the LMP3s, Angus Milne just being passed in the background there by Paul Warwick, as there's a move from Troy Hollingworth, getting past Jackson Austin to move up into 3rd place overall. The chase is going to be the clearest overtaking opportunity around the whole lap here.
It always is, isn't it? That's why it's very, very key to get the best exit of exits out of the elbow. But have a look at this, and Ian Wood's going to put some pressure on Jackson Austin, once again with Troy making 4 positions up at the moment too. So Hollingworth absolutely hammering that 800 machine.
Just pausing to hear some notes from race control. Apparently car 48's connection is looking a little inconsistent. That's Chris Croat, who's running down in 16th overall at the moment. This battle for 2nd place in Radical is showing no signs of slowing down. We are only on the 2nd lap. Hopefully they work something out here, because they are being caught by Michael Whiting, who's in that Fishy Motorsports 225 BMW M8 GTE on board here with Ian Ward as he makes his way up the hill. I love the open top of this Radical SR8. It was added to iRacing all the way back in 2008. It's one of the oldest cars on the service, but it remains one of the most fun to drive and one of the most challenging.
Yeah, it's been lifted off quite significantly through there at the moment. He's just going to sit back and enjoy this battle. Yeah, because there's no halo on these cars, my friend, so thankfully, no doubt, you don't have to worry about that in the virtual world. You're not going to have, you don't usually see an overtake here, do you? And the elbow. Because usually you want to slip in behind, get that slipstream, and then just use that momentum down there. But it didn't quite pay off at the moment there from Troy.
Yeah, Troy Hollingworth wanting to get back by Jackson Austin, hearing that there was a brief incident, I believe, for car 218, Aiden Harris, who had a bit of an off in Sector 2, but it looks like that's been cleared now. Further back, Pete Minette making his way past Trevor Mortimer to move into the overall top 10 as we check in with our LMP3s ever so briefly. There's, oh dear, that's Michael Brennan making his way past Dean Powell, and it looks like Dan Bartosh is going to follow him through there. Some LMP3 on Radical action.
Yeah, we'll show those group classes as well as the overall class. That's a bit of blinking as well too. Well, just kind of went away there for a second, but up the road there it is. So it just looks funny, like these big cars, don't they? In the middle of these absolutely low radicals that are around them, as you can just see. I just wonder what it feels like when you're behind, actually, and what you can see in your cockpit view as well. Too. Yeah. There's that moving on by.
Yeah, Pete Minette there in the 678 is really, he's really getting quite a bit of pressure there. It looks like Trevor Mortimer just backed off. And we'll see here whether or not there's going to be any gains to be made across the top of the mountain. You obviously don't want to go side by side across here in the best of circumstances, but it really does strike me how much smaller the Radical is than the BMW M8, and how much higher the BMW sits even compared to the other GTE cars. I believe most of the GTE class has gone for the BMW, but we do have a Corvette in there and a couple of Porsches, which is nice to see.
Yeah, exactly. And as you can see the height difference, of course, between essentially an open wheel car and a closed cockpit. Let's see if it gets the rundown here now. Oh, if the BMW will just open it up. Oh, they're even Stevens in the match for sport, aren't they? Match with the pace, I mean.
Just close enough is Trevor Mortimer to get the slipstream and keep up with the BMW of Pete Minette. It lifts off just a little bit down the straight, and we'll make up that time all over again in the braking zone for the chase. I will correct myself and say that we do have a Ferrari in the GTE class. That is Peter Morris driving the Fishy Split 3 Jokers entry in that Ferrari at the front of this pack here. And then we have Aidan Harris in the Racing for James Silver car there in the Porsche. Meanwhile, the lead is on. Doug Gowan's getting the run on Dylan Gray, and he's going to try and get up the inside at turn 2. Gray gains the speed back, though. The BMW is great in a straight line compared to the Radical. And, well, Doug Gowans is going to have to sit behind him for a little bit longer here. But he's all over the back of him.
Oh.
These Radicals are buzzing around the GTEs and round the outside at the cutting. That is a brave move, but it's got him the lead.
You don't see that very often, yeah, exactly. Now see how far I can get up the road if he's been hindered. Of course, he's got the fastest lap on that last lap, so he's in the 58.9 club, first man to get into the 58s here this evening, so absolutely fantastic work for that. These three still line of stern, not too much happening between them. Further back in the field, this is where you have this other multi-class brilliant battle. Looks like the boss man here of Simple Racing Broadcasts may have had a moment from Jared, and yes, he is, and that's a big one because they're stuck here at the moment. Who's that with?
Oh, yeah. That's PJ Whiteman in the Papa Juliet Racing machine. Nice livery on that car. The safety car has been called by race control as a result. A virtual safety car in this event. They give them a 10-second countdown before everyone gets onto the pit limiter.
He's stuck. He can't reverse. You can see that. He's trying. He's trying to get it out of gear there. I mean, obviously just trying, but it's just jammed. Look at that. See that?
Yeah.
Trying forwards, backwards. Jared can't move. And
he's been given permission to tow.
They both have been permission to tow, so that's understandable as everybody's had to stick down to that virtual safety car pace. Whilst that's happened, sure, race control will get that message now to say that the track is cleared.
Yeah, so that's far from ideal for those two cars. The GTEs are very old cars. They haven't been updated in a while, so that's the reason why you see them stuck together. And poor Jared had nothing to do with that incident. That was the LMP3 ahead of him losing it.
Yeah, was it Travis?
Yep, Travis Harris in car 22.
Yeah.
Looks like he caught the grass on the way in, and it's very easy to lose the rear in those LMP3s. Compression lock on the downshifts is a common problem in those cars, but you combine that with running on the grass, and it's far from ideal. Safety car period has been called to end, and they are back to racing.
Well, down to the boss man, of course, Mitch Curry of the MC Motorsports. He's currently at the moment down 4 places, but he's in this battle here with the 838 there, Michael Brennan. Dean's not too far down the road there. So this is a nice little squabble. Early days, of course, an endurance race. You don't always necessarily have to gain as many positions as possible, because sometimes you're on certain different strategies and things like that as well too. But it's certainly entertaining for us to watch these drivers battle.
Yeah, certainly. And you have to keep in mind the various fuel tank and power restrictions that these cars all have to more or less equalize them on pace. It does mean that depending on your class, you are locked into a certain strategy. The LMP3s are going to be the ones that pit first, then the Radicals, then the GTEs. So if you're in a Radical and you're making up bulk places, you're likely to lose them to a GTE, and it doesn't matter how fast you are and how many overtakes you can make in an LMP3, you're going to be dropping back very shortly.
So we get two little battles here. I thought that Jackson was going to... Ian was going to get the overtake on Jackson there, but elected to tuck in behind. Well, he knows his overtaking opportunities will be coming down the bottom of the mountain and into the elbow. That's what you always got to get, because after that, you've got this long straight all the way down Conrod Straight to try to get it. And you see how much that you've really got to get about 2/10, I'd say, behind that car. And then you get that nice little toe, the slipstream. But then, you know, as soon as you go out there, it's like you'll break the air big time and it'll just basically make the car bog down.
Yeah,
we've got an accident somewhere here too.
Oh dear, that's one of the radicals of Michael Brennan that's unfortunately come a cropper there, losing the front bodywork. And we don't often see that, seeing a radical running without that. It looks like the front right has had some problems as well.
No.
Car spinning ahead. It's another LMP3 going for a spin and causing issues for the cars behind. That was the number 58 machine of Jared Burns that unfortunately spun there out of the elbow, and it looks like it collected one of his fellow LMP3s too.
Oh yeah, there it is. Just no traction there. Bang, bang. It's two cars actually as well. Oh, I see. Well, this is what obviously the mountain. That's what happens when you have an accident in the mountain. That you know, there's not a lot of runoff area, of course. So you're basically it's just like close your eyes if you're the car's behind, and just hope if you have any time at all to try to avoid it.
Yeah, and especially if you're dealing with rear end problems in the LMP3, then it's obviously not the best scenario. So we've had a couple of black flags handed out by race control, and it looks to me like it's been car 310 and car 82, both for safety car violations. They evidently didn't get down to the correct speed in time.
Naughty, naughty, naughty. Sent to the principal's office.
Okay, a wrap over the knuckles.
Drive-through.
Yes. So that's going to put a bit of a damper on their races. The Fishy Split 3 Jokers and the 310 GTE of Peter Morris. And car number 82 is, I'm looking for him, that's Trevor Mortimer in the Rogue Racing Radical, which is running 5th in class at the moment.
Oh, slow down at the moment there for Austin.
Jackson Austin.
Yeah, and that will give that position to Ian for sure. Oh, no. Keep it on the fence. He's going to take it back now. Ian makes a mistake.
And once the slowdown is cleared, Jackson Austin is back through. I think that worked out okay for him in the end.
Yeah, he did. He would have been happy with that, of course. He would have been like, oh, damn, I have to get the position up, of course. But that's what happens when Ian made a little mistake. But here we go. He's going to fight back right now as they climb up the hill.
Side by side, coming into Griffin's Bend. If you're on the inside of the approach to the corner, you'll probably get the place, because there's a huge crowd in the road here, and you can see how much pace Ian Ward loses around the outside of the corner there. You're basically angled towards the outside of the corner in a vertical sense when you're going through that turn. So not ideal if you're going side by side through there. Troy Hollingworth is the next radical to make trouble for Dylan Gray, our overall pole sitter. Clearly, that BMW GTE is fast around here over a single lap, but where it makes its speed is very different to the radical. You can see how much Troy's having to back off here through the S's. This is where his car is faster.
Oh, this is fun, isn't it? I sense it up the inside.
No.
Oh. Doesn't even have to wait.
Just enough space
for the toe, does he, to get it down Conrod Straight? He's like, I'm gone. He wants to catch, obviously, Dougie up the road, because he's now got a gap by almost 4 seconds. So, obviously, he's trying to battle in the class. But look at that. This is where that speed comes in that you called out there for the BMW now. Once he got up and
engage warp speed.
Exactly. And now Troy's going to be like, damn, I have to do all over again. Well, that's what you get for multi-class racing, mate. And it's great how balanced it is like that, you know. Topsy-turvy.
Yeah, fantastic. It looks to me like, Chris Croat is stopped there in the BMW at the Dipper. That's a very inconvenient spot, and he has a front row seat to all of the cars coming around that blind corner. He will try his best here to get it turned around, but that BMW is huge, and there we go. Straight up T-boned by the number 11 entry of Brian East. And then the Team Pink car will now have some damage to the front end.
I should call a virtual safety car here because that's in a dangerous position. It's a blind corner as well, and he's crab walking, I think.
He can't get it turned.
Yeah.
He just can't get the car turned around. That is very dangerous.
He's just off. They should be at least on the horn there and alerting to everybody where that car is stopped at the moment, and so he can get enough space, but he's still got to turn it. He can't turn it.
Look at the rear end. That rear left is like in the middle of the car, basically. Finally gets it flicked around, but that's going to be a long and difficult trip back to pit lane for Chris Croat.
And
if he can even keep it together, goodness me.
Pit road too. I wonder if they do any damage or not. That's the situation at the moment. Jared Burns goes in. This battle still resuming between these drivers in class, of course, for the Radicals. But just having a look at what happened with Chris and Dean, actually.
Yeah, because there was obviously a reason Chris Croat was spun around. It wasn't contact. He just lost it on the way into the dipper. Easy to do. It's a mistake that all of us have made many times before. But Chris Croat, for some reason, ended up getting some massive damage to the rear left. And then this is, it's a separate incident.
It's a separate incident, yeah. He wouldn't have seen him, I wouldn't imagine him either at that point, because it's a lot of blind present. So he's just, unless it's something that came into his ear or something like that, to say, careful, there's a car. And that can throw you off sometimes, as you'd imagine.
Yeah, well, it's probably, hello, side by side now. Troy Hollingworth, having lost a couple of places, is now trying his best to get past Ian Ward and Jackson Austin. Actually, he's fallen behind them. Last time we were on board with Troy, he was right behind Dylan Gray. I'm not sure what happened to him.
Yeah, I was just trying to see anything from race control messages to say, was there anything significant? Maybe just an off track or something like that? We're maybe looking at some of the replays.
I am presently scrubbing through to see, and it was a crash at the cutting. He'd gotten past Dylan Gray, but he lost it under brakes, and the car slid. Fortunately, he just about kept it out of the barrier, but the other two Radicals ended up duly making their way past him.
Yeah, I think I might have a slight replay of that to have a look at, as you're going to see the power there, obviously, of the BMW cruising on by, but this is where he's going to be vulnerable in the high-speed corners.
Yeah, the LMP3 is far from the quickest car out there, but it certainly makes up great time through the corners. That Ligier JS P320 is the newest car competing in this event. The Radical, of course, dating from before 2010, the GTE's dating from about 2017, 2018, and this car only being in service in the global LMP3 categories for the last 5 years or so. So it's a nice little mix-up of machines here, as we'll see what happened to Troy Hollingworth. Yeah, just rear end broke free in the curved braking zone for the cutting. He got out of the way and off the racing line just in time for Jackson Austin and Ian Ward to come through.
Yeah, very lucky to escape that. But here he is back in a battle. It didn't take him too long to catch up to the rest of these two already, isn't it? And he's thinking about an overtake on the inside there of Ian, and a little bit of argy-bargy, a little bit of trading paints. Gets the position.
The Radical is certainly not the most tank-like car, as that's a problem for Paul Warwick. The number 400 GTE gets passed by the Corvette of Simon Caplet, and it looks like he's going to stay out. No damage to that machine, but obviously the chase claiming a couple of victims here. He was already sliding on the way through, so it looks like that might have just been the brakes being dragged a bit too much towards the apex, or brake bias a bit too far to the rear. There's multiple ways you can turn around there.
Now we'll pull up our race timer, and I just realised that we didn't have up here at the moment, so that we can let everybody know. So we're 19 minutes into our 3-hour endurance race, so plenty of time still. Lots of action so far, which is fantastic for some of the drivers, of course, and others not so nice. But I think we do see a few drivers making some pit roads and on the damage clock, but are back out, I believe, some of them still. So they got time. They're just a lap or so down now.
Indeed. Looks like Michael Brennan has just made his way into pit lane. It looks like he caught himself a mechanical black flag, so that 838 Radical, who's already had a bit of a rough race, is going to have to get that car refreshed. Drivers get 3 fast repairs over the course of this race, and that will be the first time, I believe, Michael Brennan uses his, as there's a problem for the LMP3 ahead here. Mitch Curry, representing MC Motorsports himself, moves past Paul Warwick, and it looks like Simon Caplet with some issues through Forest Elbow there. And here's another marker of pace difference. The GTE's at the end of Conrod Straight. The LMP3 just has nothing for them, despite the fact that it also has a V8 engine, much like the BMW and Corvette ahead.
Let's see what Mitch Curry can do here at the moment. He's going to try and mount another attack. Oh, I've been thinking about a 2-for-1 special there, mate, but a little bit too far back.
Okay, so on to the next lap then. Our highest LMP3 is currently in 9th overall, so it looks like on a full race run, the GTEs and Radicals have the measure of the LMP3s, but there is still plenty of possibilities for LMP3s to finish well here, as long as they keep it out of the wall. Dive to the inside there for Paul Warwick. He's going to get up the inside of Simon Caplet, back up to 5th in GTE, manages to pull it up for the apex just in time, and you see where the LMP3 makes up its time. Through these fast corners, it is nigh on unstoppable versus those GTEs that rely a bit more on mechanical grip.
You can see one of there's a little bit of damage on Simon's car from maybe a little bit of a slap into the fence earlier on, as you said, probably around the elbow area there, but whether it's going to cost him too much of that pace, that's what some of these drivers will be nursing a bit of damage. They won't necessarily use, because of the endurance race, you wouldn't necessarily use your fast repair up if you know, if the damage is only going to cost you 30 seconds or maybe just shy of a minute or something like that, because you want to save them. It's a long race, remember, so you use them all up too quickly and you've got nothing left, and you'll be sitting in pit road for the remainder of the race.
Yeah, for sure. It's good to have fast repairs. You know, they're sort of basically a get-out-of-jail-free card, but you want to preserve them. Try and drive in such a way that you don't have to use them early, because you run out of all 3 fast repairs and you're only like an hour into the race. Yeah. You have another incident, then you're basically done. Exactly,
Early. That's what's a difficult decision, isn't it? Because you also don't want to go too many laps down, because it's a lot to recover from early, but at the same time, you know, so you go, well, yeah, why use that fast repair? Once again, it's just it's based on how much damage that you've got, that they're going to tell you when you're in pit road, or how much you have to look at repairing, and that's that decision with some, because some of the drivers have been down there at the moment have spent, like Jared spent 3 minutes and 22 seconds. PJ Whiteman spent 3.5 minutes. So you don't know whether or not they just change some tires, and that's got to be repairs done, but that would be a fast repair, because your fast repair you'd be in and out pretty quickly.
Yeah, and we've got to keep in mind for PJ, for Chris Croat, and for Jared Cole, a significant portion of that would be tow time. Oh dear, speaking of Jared, he's just gotten a bit of a run up the rear by one of the Radicals, and that is far from ideal there. That is the pack that's battling for 3rd overall, and it seems Jackson Austin has lost his front end as a result.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if we get the replay of that, but I don't see anything in particular. Kind of just caught live pictures of it as I was switching over to it, and there he is. Yeah, so depending on how much time he starts dropping in these laps, you might elect just to stay out and deal with that damage for now if it doesn't cost him too much time. Sometimes it's a little bit more cosmetic on our screens than it actually is for the drivers, because I've spoken to drivers before the end of a race and they've got had damage like that, and I'm like, how much defective? Like, oh, not much at all.
Yeah, sometimes, I've talked to drivers in the past and I've asked them a question about how the damage affected them, and they're like, what damage? They didn't even notice. So the fight in GTE Corvette versus BMW. It would appear this is Matthew Neal and Pete Minette that are fighting for 3rd and 4th in class, and that's 7th and 8th overall. They are still being harassed a little bit by Angus Milne, who's our highest running LMP3. Meanwhile, Dan Bartosh and Mitch Curry making life difficult for Simon Caplet, who has certainly had a few adventures today. The incident that happened at Forest Elbow earlier that we caught on replay, he was the first car on the scene there. He ended up having to take avoiding action and hit the outside wall on exit, almost did a Dick Johnson.
Okay, exactly.
All right,
nothing like
so
the sensation of speed climbing up the mountain here in Bathurst, because you've got to tackle it. It's like a tamed beast. You got to fight it. And there's no real smooth sailing in this track, my friend. Not up around this section, of course. Up the top of the mountain here, and then you got to just, like a roller coaster, just kind of let it just slide down there as gracefully as possible.
Absolutely. Bathurst is often put in the same category of track as the Nürburgring and Spa-Francorchamps. It's one of those circuits, and I think particularly closer to the Nürburgring in particular, there's no such thing as a clean lap. Oh, I've just noticed things have gotten worse for Jackson Austin. They've ended up, that Radical battle ended up coming up on another GTE, Benjamin Hornibrook, and it looks to me like taking great advantage was Ian Ward. Moved straight past as Troy Hollingworth was caught up behind the car.
Oh, there it is,
and that was just in time for Jackson Austin to arrive on the scene. The BE Electrical Race on Oz Radical, once again, with no front end to its name, and it looks like the damage is even worse now. That front left looks like it's turned in a bit.
You can even see his feet almost in his steering wheel at the front there, so he'd be like, oh, well, at least I got some air conditioning in that car now, but he has headed down pit road. And Dan has also gone down as well to the 195 LMP3.
Yeah, Dan Bartosh. This is just on the verge of what I think would be the end of the stint for the LMP3s. So I would expect more LMP3s to come in the next few minutes. The brief intervention of the VSC may have allowed them the opportunity to save a tiny bit of fuel, though. Whether or not that's going to make much of a difference to their overall pit strategy, though, remains to be seen. For Dan Bartosh, the stop is done in 21 seconds, and he is back out as we keep an eye here on Angus Milne, the lead LMP3, still harassing the back of Pete Minette here. And it's been a clean race for all of these drivers so far, but just look at the way the wheel is shaking around here for Angus Milne. He is feeling every single bump around this treacherous track.
And you got to remember, these drivers have got to do it for 3 hours. Now for 2.5 hours, so it's just it's concentration level. There's no, I mean, you'd have to say Conrod Straight, give it a bit of a breather, and of course out of Hell's Corner as you climb up to the mountain. There's another little bit of a breather. You might take your hand off the wheel for a second and scratch your face or something, or take a swig to keep hydrated. Aside from that, the rest of it, my friend, it's concentration, and it's as you said, battling the steering wheel.
Evidently. Evidently Angus Milne is running a direct drive wheel with max feedback. You only see those kinds of oscillations on a direct drive rim, on a direct drive base, sorry. I can tell you from my experience, it's difficult enough driving around this place with two hands, but I have a condition where I can't use my right arm. There was an injury at birth, so I only use my left hand for driving.
Wow.
And basically I have to prop the wheel up with my elbow to scratch my face when I'm going down Conrod. Everywhere else it is maximum concentration the whole time.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's pretty impressive to be able to do that, but you got to find a way, don't you? As you said. And that's what these drivers will be having to really get that concentration level and focus. As you can see there, Mitch Curry now trying to get his way past Paul Warwick. As somebody's commented out there, right, the ANZ chat show, he's going, how to get past that BMW is as wide as a track. Yet it looks like it, doesn't it? But drivers have managed to succeed it tonight, especially Dougie Gowans. He's got past Dylan Gray. Took him quite a few laps on his belt at the moment. Ian hasn't found a way past him. He's been hovering down the road. Well, that's should be about 1.8 something seconds there behind him. Don't know what's showing interval twice up the top.
Ooh. Half a look there coming through Skyline down to the S's. You almost never see passes being made there, and for very good reason. Mitch Curry, of course, representing the organisers of this event, so I think there's a bit of extra pressure on him to get the move done cleanly. Look at that pack ahead, meanwhile.
Yeah.
Actually, looks like
that's
there's...
Matthew and Pete. Yep. And they're going for it. Yeah.
And they are joined by a lap down GTE as well.
Yes,
It would appear to be a Corvette.
So all these cars are going to start catching it, I would assume. Look at them in picture here.
Oh, contact on the way into the braking zone at Murray's, and Pete Minette is going to try and hold the outside here, but Matthew Neal is first to the apex, and he'll have the nose ahead on the way into Hell Corner, trying to move across to the racing line, but the BMW still has overlap, and that's a great exit for the Corvette. Now they are joined by Paul Warwick. Warwick has been a long way behind Matthew Neal and Pete Minette for some time. I think this is one of his first opportunities to really try and elevate his way up this field. He has passed the LMP3s and he joins his fellow GTEs in a three-way fight.
Yep, absolutely fantastic. It's just what can you believe this amount of cars that we got huddled up after 32 minutes in this race? There they all are.
Fantastic. Beautiful scenes at Mount Panorama. I always enjoy a good sports car race around here. So we'll see these two LMP3s behind them as well. Angus Milne formerly leading his class by quite a margin, but Mitch Curry has really caught him up in the last few laps. I think Angus has had some difficulties running up behind these GTEs, losing pace in very critical areas of the track for his car. And Mitch Curry has been more than happy to find his way forward from there. And oh man, the GTEs love locking their brakes into the corners as well. For the record, I'm looking at positions gained and lost. There's only two cars in this field that still occupy the same position they started in overall. There's Ian Ward running in third, and then there's Mitch Curry here running up behind Angus Milne, as now things are starting to really ramp up here. The move for Paul Warwick, and off the track goes Matthew Neal just in time for the LMP3s to arrive on the scene. Angus Milne and Mitch Curry make nose-to-tail contact, and that's going to make things quite difficult for them going forward. It does allow Pete Minette a very crucial bit of breathing room as Matthew Neal gets caught up in some shenanigans there. Diving up the inside is Mitch Curry, but he's going to have to be careful. That GTE's going to get him at the end of the straight here.
Yep, that's exactly right. It should know that one. It's going to try to be defensive as possible.
I think for
the
LMP
track. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's forcing him to pick a side, and he's not allowing him through, and so that's going to be Matthew Neal having to stay behind. It's I was going to say, the LMP3s kind of have to make that move, don't they? Because there's no opportunity for them to get by into the cutting, for example, because by that point, they've already negotiated a couple of straights and the GTEs are too far ahead of them. Oh, that's Jared Burns that spun around in the Black Hawk Motorsport car. It looks like Dan Bartush may have clipped him on the way through there. Far from ideal for car number 58. And wow, that was too much curb at Murray's. Two-wheeling it through the corner, and it was two LMP3s that went through there. I think it might have been not just Dan Bartush, but Isaac Edwards as well in the race on Oscar.
Yeah, they were having a fantastic squabble. I was just flicking over that because we wanted to see the pictures on them all.
Whoa!
Patrick.
That's good. Yeah, Paul Warwick loses it. On the way to Forest Elbow, looked like the rear end just got away from him as he got on the brakes through the right-hander before Forest Elbow itself. And that's now brought the LMP3s back into contention. Angus Milne's going to enjoy this. There's a lot of speed here, reaching 265s, 266 Ks an hour on the way down to the chase. And look at the speed he gets through the corners as well. He's not able to maintain the advantage, though. And here comes Mitch Curry. Both of them. Oh, they're all coming into pit lane. It looks like Paul Warwick evidently having some problems of his own. That wall hit must have damaged his car sufficiently that he requires repairs. For the LMP3s, on the other hand, I think this is just a scheduled pit stop.
I think you might be right on that one. They probably weren't expecting that to happen right before their scheduled pit stop, as you can see. You got Angus there and Mitch all in. So, rest of the drivers that are still out in the field there. The top, you'd have to say from Dougie down to Jackson. Sorry, to Trevor Audemars. Haven't pitted just yet. Everybody else, most of the drivers actually, have gone in at least once.
More bad news for Matthew Neal. He has been given a drive-through penalty for an unsafe rejoin on lap 6. So he's going to have to tour through the pits at some point. As goodness gracious me, things are honestly, every single time we see these cars come together, it puts my heart in my mouth. We are not even an hour into this 3-hour competition, and it seems you're not safe at any point.
Never in an endurance race at Bathurst, mate. Never. I mean, doesn't matter if you're like Dougie at the front, who's just got the fastest lap replaced from him from Dylan Gray, but he's got a 12-second gap to Dylan down the road there. So he's got, he's not necessarily, let's say, all by himself, but he can easily come up to approach the scene of a crime, the scene of an accident essentially, and any of these blind corners, and all of a sudden you're involved in it, and Dougie's on the damage clock. So
yeah,
that's Bathurst.
Worth pointing out for that fastest lap there, Dylan Gray, yes, did run a 10th faster
and he
than...
didn't avoid that.
Speaking of... Oh, dear. Oh, it's gotten way worse. Oh, dear. It looks like Ian Ward collected him, and we saw parts flying. That was right in the middle of the track at the cutting. There was basically no way to avoid that. And now Ian Ward is the next Radical to come up on some issues. So once again, that is losing the rear end into the cutting, and Dylan Gray just manages to avoid. Then in comes Ian Ward and whammo. VSC.
Yeah, okay.
It's been called.
Yeah. So surprised how they called it that one, but they didn't call it the other accident before. Let's have a look. This is exactly what Ian Ward had to see. So this is the problem with the blind corners. We just mentioned about that. He just sees the smoke in time.
No.
You wouldn't have been able to stop it, wouldn't you? You would have absolutely had to hit the end, because your rear end would have probably gone around anyway. So at this point, it just loses his front end. And as you said, we're back to our second virtual safety car.
But the virtual safety car is not for that incident. It's for Brian East. If you want to queue up a replay, we can see what happened to him. It was also contact at the cutting with the fishy Ferrari of Wayne Shepherd.
Wow.
And just like that, that's what brought out the VSC. Only lasted about 20, 30 seconds. And we're back to green flag racing on live pictures. But yeah, that's not ideal. Going side by side into the cutting anyway is definitely a low margin for error. But you've got to be aware that that GTE is not going to want to stick to the inside line there. So... shame, but it happens at this place. In comes Ian Ward to get his first pit stop done, but not at the time he wanted.
No. I'll throw your strategy out the door a little bit on that, but you got time to come back and happen. Remember, it can happen to anybody at any time in this race, so nobody's safe. We've still got 2 hours and 20 minutes to go. Obviously, a handful of pit stops to come from all the drivers as well, and on top of it, the top 7 drivers are still yet to come down pit road for the very first time.
Indeed they are. Things going much better for some than others, and poor Wayne Shepherd, not only did he have that contact with the LMP3 that brought out the VSC, but he's been black flagged for it. So race control deciding the Ferrari was the one at fault there. And I think looking at the replay of that crash, I understand why race control did that. The LMP3 was ahead at the point of contact, but I think it's just the nature of the track contributing to at least 50% of the blame for that incident.
What's interesting, I think, something was interesting, I was going to think about that for a second, but I got a little distracted. 2 battles close at the moment. Ian Ward's come back out right ahead there of Austin. And he manages to get past. Look at this traffic that's brewing up around here, mate.
And those are all GTEs racing there, and I don't believe any of them are actually fighting for the same position. No. They're not. Yeah. Benjamin Hornibrook is running in 21st, Chris Croat down in 27th, and Matthew Neal running overall P10. So those are 3 GTEs all on separate laps there. As the battle continues here between Andrew Proctor and Jared Burns, the GTE trying around the outside.
I don't know you're going to get an overtake around there, mate. He's laid his cards down on the table, and I think Jared called his bluff, my friend.
Yeah, certainly. So that is going to leave Dan Bartosh staring at the rear bumper of a BMW M8 for the next half a lap or so, unless he can get some kind of move done across the top, which I would not advise, no matter how much of a professional driver you are. There's just too much that can go wrong in this section of the racetrack. I suppose the LMP3s just have to come to terms with the fact that this is their lot in life for this race. They may be faster in this section of the track, but they're just unable to take advantage if they're close enough to a GTE.
Absolutely. I just going back to the chat there as well too, that the ANZ chat show, he said you'll know who that is in the chat, of course. And then we also got Aiden going out there for Go Car 33, which currently at the moment Car 33 is Brad. Down there in P... Where is Brad currently at the moment? So he's running
20th overall.
20th overall, yeah.
The Adrenaline Esports entry. Dealing with some traffic himself. Bartosh, meanwhile, makes way for, I believe that's not Troy Hollingworth. That's our overall leader, Doug Gowans, I believe, that just went past him. Meanwhile, first time we've seen a Porsche and an LMP3 together, though under clean circumstances. Aiden Harris up 10 places overall, but it looks like he's going to let Jared Burns and the Black Hawk 58 have it.
He did. He just said, no. I'll choose a fight another day. I remember engineering some drivers before in endurance races, and you do that. You tell drivers sometimes. They'll sit down and going, should I continue this battle or should I, back off? And then, not necessarily myself with engineers, but I heard with engineers, actual real race car engineers as well too, that do work on V8 supercars and a whole bunch of other things, that they'll be sitting in the background telling their driver what they should be doing. Of course, they get in the car as well because usually 24-hour endurance races, you're going to have one or two drivers. This one, we only have just the one driver, of course. It's a 3-hour stint. But, you choose your battles wisely in different times and stuff like that. And he's asking out there as well, too. So, the NZ chat show was saying, is that Matt Neal from the UK who races for the Dude? The Dude.
Oh, no. Matt Neal of British Touring Car Championship fame. His last name is spelled Neal.
Yeah.
Not Neil, as is the case for the number 5 here.
Number 5 is alive at the moment in the 5th position in Class 2. So he's the number 5 car running 5th in class and running 10th overall.
Yeah, very nice indeed. So, as things stand at the moment, the only real fight on track at the moment is between Ian Ward and Matthew Neal here. Those cars just getting over a second apart now. And so with that, every car in the field is a second or more away from the next car for position.
That's that part of the time of the race, isn't it? When everybody's kind of even Stevens out a little bit after some exciting racing, because we get down about 15 minutes to reach our first hour marker into our 3-hour endurance race special here, presented by the Simple Racing broadcast for the MC Motorsport Racing League. And you got one of the legends in the booth here, right next to me. It's called The Lot of Motor Racing. Virtual. Do you even call real motor racing as well?
Yes, actually. In the last couple of years, SimSpeed have brought me on for the English language broadcast for the Thailand Super Series, which has been amazing to be a part of. And I keep telling myself every single summer, I'm like, this is the year I'm going to go to Perth Motorplex and Ellenbrook Speedway and all that and give them my show reel and a CV or whatever. I almost never do, but maybe 2026 is going to be my year. We'll see.
Let's hope. Hashtag get him over there. All right. There's a nice little battle brewing on here. This is two different classes, of course. Andrew Proctor up the road there. And this is Dan the Man that we're on board with the Ayrton Senna throwback helmet.
Indeed. Dan Bartush is probably going to be a little frustrated at this because, clearly faster than the BMW across the top of the mountain. But once you get to Conrod Straight, you just watch that BMW get smaller and smaller and smaller until you get to the braking zone for the chase, and you're going to see the big M8 get much, much bigger on the way up to the apex. Unfortunately, not much that he can do.
Yeah.
Much bigger.
Much bigger. There you go. I like it.
Large man.
Wonder if there's a point where Jared's out by himself on the track and he hasn't got a lot of traffic around, we might actually drag him in for a quick little race recap. Did he say we could do that?
I don't remember exactly, but I don't think he would be opposed necessarily.
Yeah, pending, of course. Yeah, if we've got not a lot of action around him, because or we'd just be quiet when he's doing that. As we're seeing Troy Hollingworth head into pit road for the first time. He's running second in class at the moment with Dougie leading that one. So you'd probably expect Dougie to come in soon too, wouldn't you? Well, other radicals.
Yeah. Yeah, don't forget Troy Hollingworth had a couple of problems in the first stint. He was fighting, very hard for that lead, but ended up losing a lot of time to Doug Gowans there. So that's the first scheduled pit stop for the Radical class there. We have had Trevor Mortimer go through the pits once for a drive-through. Jackson Austin and Ian Ward both pitting for repairs 4 and 10 laps ago, respectively. So now, this will give us an eye into what the strategy is really like for the Radical SR8. Looks like... Actually, hang on a minute. Is that a driver change for the number 800? It is. Jason Douglas has jumped in to replace Troy Hollingworth.
Oh, fair enough. That's fair play. I guess that was allowed, and maybe drivers can't commit the full 3 hours. Fair play. All right.
Yes.
Just means, as you say to the driver, I think in the I just started watching the Formula 1 movie, I think, and that start there when they did the Rolex 24-hour, and was it Brad Pitt said something to the other driver about when he got in the car to finish it home. Can't remember what the quote was. It just said something about I'll threaten him if he didn't bring the car home and win the race.
Indeed. Here's Dan Bartush then with the run on car number 13. Can he finally get past Andrew Proctor just in time for some other cars to emerge out of pit lane right behind them? And he indeed does get by, but is there going to be a response from Andrew Proctor here to get back past? If that does happen, then Bartush will probably have the red mist to descend, because he's been dealing with that BMW in front of him for God knows how long at this point. He goes defensive into turn 2. And he will be through, and it looks like he'll be able to gain some time back now. It would appear that it looks like we had a problem for someone in Sector 2 down at the Dipper.
PJ, was it?
Pete Manette has gained a mechanical black flag for some reason there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the deal is for the 678. He was in 5th place overall just a few moments ago.
I don't think you can barely turn the steering wheel too. Look at it.
Yeah, it looks like it actually happened at did it happen at the cutting? Wow, okay. I'm rewinding, and I've only just gotten to the incident. It did happen at the cutting. He ended up going, Jesus, that's a lot of right hand down. He ended up going too deep into the cutting and hit the right side of the car. And then he couldn't turn it and ended up grinding the left side of the car against the wall all the way through Reed and Silman Park. So pretty heavy damage for that race on 678.
There it is, another Mountain Conquers, another victim. And hopefully get patched up and get back out there. Once again, there are 3 fast repairs if you're tuning in. These drivers have. They'll elect to use them or not, and perhaps still early in this race might not necessarily use them if you can chip out those repairs. We did see Dougie did come in as well too, and now Dylan's coming in. So race leader Dougie went in, and now second, first in class there of Dylan Gray as he hits the anchors to try to slow it down for the pit lane speed. He'll come in, which means we'll get passed by Michael Whiting in P2. I would imagine. Zoom by, but Michael will have to come down a pit road at some point. In fact, he's coming down now. So
yeah. It looks like 25 laps is the stint length for the GTEs. The Radicals, on the other hand, it would appear they can end up going about 20 laps or so before they have to come in. So. We'll see how that goes for them. Doug Gowans, former overall leader, will get back into the overall lead. And that will be looks like working out to be an over 9-second lead now over Dylan Gray. Next car to come in is Simon Caplet, who through all of this has managed to work his way up to P4, of course, considering that a lot of the cars in front of him have already pitted. So this is his turn to go descending down the order a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that little bit of slight damage that we saw on the front there was just cosmetic or not. If it'll actually get any of that repaired. Chris Miller's in there now, just exiting pit road actually. So if Simon will get that done or not, we could have another driver swap there. Did you see that car blink in the background? Potentially that is sometimes a driver swap.
Yes, that's one of the LMP3s, actually. I think it might be the Black Hawk Motorsport 93, Dean Powell at the wheel, which has been in the pits now for the last 25 and a half minutes. Yeah. So that's a car that's had a lot of issues, and it would appear did not decide to tick their fast repair, so they've had to spend a lot of time in pit lane.
Yeah, sometimes drivers forget to do that, don't they? They actually, and then it's too late. You got to sit there on the damage clock, especially if it's too much. This might have been what happened to Dean before.
Oh. Yeah, okay. That's not the way you should be going. And, yeah, looks like that was the end of it there for Dean Powell. And the Black Hawk Motorsport machine, they do still have a car in this one, do Black Hawk. And that is the one driven by Jared Burns, who currently sits in P15. But this fight that we're looking at the moment is where the fighting is. That's Andrew Proctor with a poor exit from the cutting. And Matthew Munday has taken over car 400 from Paul Warwick. And we'll see them continue their fight with an LMP3 and a Radical joining them. Trevor Mortimer is racing these two for position in the Radical. The LMP3 of Brian East is caught in the middle of it.
Loving it. You're right. Fresh driver in on the helm of the 400, right? Actually, Monday didn't start this race, did he? I believe, yeah.
No, he didn't.
No, that's right. He swapped out. So.
Paul Warwick did.
That's right. So, that's a good exit out of the chase. That's out of the elbow. Sorry, that's what you want, and that's about as close as you're going to get. Remember, it's even Stevens between car and class here, so it come down to pure driver skill.
Or slipstream. Let's see if Matthew Munday is able to get by into the chase, and he'll go over the curb, but Andrew Proctor maintains the inside. Little bit of instability for the 400, and he manages to make it to the apex in the end. But again, it's a fantastic exit. Well, it looks like, no battle then. Andrew Proctor brings it in. That's actually the first stop for that car. He's managed to stretch that tank to 26 laps.
Now he's going to have to defend off Trevor.
And it looks like there's not much of a fight there. So Trevor Mortimer moves back through into overall 10th. And now it looks like the battles have fallen a bit further back here. Simon Caplet, fresh out of the pits, has only just completed his first lap. Pete Minette at the wheel of the Race on 678, coming out of the pits 2 laps ago. And the pace difference between these cars is not insignificant. Fastest lap for Simon Caplet was a 2:01.2. Pete Minette could get it into the 2-minute flat bracket with a 2-minute .744 for his fastest time. And you got to remember that Caplet is probably still just getting used to the car again with a heavy fuel load after running that tank out. I don't expect the GTEs would have to change tyres basically at all in this race. Maybe one tyre change somewhere along the way, but these endurance GT cars often run tyre compounds that last the distance. Oh dear, that is one of the LMP3s. Travis Harris in the 22 that's gone around. Now, is he able to get that one going?
Well, the thing is, too, he's got to wait because he's
full course yellow called.
Sorry?
Full course yellow called.
Full course yellow.
Yep. And that's going to have to be a tow back to pits for Travis Harris. That brings another little pause to that action. Talking tyres for a brief moment, I would expect that the LMP3s will have to change tyres once in this one. I'm unsure about the Radicals. But I do remember, and iRace ANZ chat show, aka Scott Stevens, if I'm not wrong, former teammate of mine at Fusion Sim Racing, or Trent Thomas. They were both involved with the chat show, and both members of Fusion Sim Racing at one point or another. They will surely remember the time when FSR ended up making an attempt at the 24 Hours of Le Mans some years ago when the GTEs were still in use. They managed to quad stint tyres through the night in the BMW M8, which was pretty incredible. That goes to show how good the tyres are on the GTEs.
Well, speaking of tyres at the moment, looks like Benjamin's up on the jacks, if I'm not mistaken. That's unusual, as Dan will exit pit road right now. His Corvette, you can still see, is up there. That's very long. There it is. Drops it back down. Yep, taking tyres.
Okay, so Benjamin Hornibrook will find his way back out of the pits there, and that is a good point of comparison, actually. 56.7 seconds in pit lane for him. Meanwhile, the likes of Dylan Gray, their pit stops only took 30 seconds. That is fuel only, no tyres.
or fast repair sometimes as well could be used. Unfortunately, we don't get any information up on our racing timing software about drivers using a fast repair. I don't think iRacing actually output any of that information to us, unfortunately. I don't see why they wouldn't, because it's not something of a real advantage, is it? If we told people in the broadcast if they use the fast repair or not. I mean, I understand fuel and stuff like that. They don't want to pass that information off to the broadcasters because, that's very important strategy. And obviously, if you have spotters and stuff like that listening to the broadcast, and the broadcasters are saying, "Oh, he's got, only got 2 laps of fuel remaining," or something like that, and the teams can work around their strategies on that.
Well, potentially, I do know that it is possible to see how many fast repairs drivers have remaining, but I don't know if it's an SDK or an ATVO thing, because when I'm working with Jay Kennedy over at SimSpeed, he often lets me know which cars still have fast repairs remaining in events that
I'll talk to the developer about that. Yeah. We'll get that added.
And that would be great.
SDK software, because ATVO, two main software, of course, you use. So for iRacing Broadcaster, the good tools, the goodies.
Indeed. I've had experience broadcasting races where I've been looking at both ATVO and SDK, and they're both fantastic ways to get information onto the screen.
Yes, sir.
We'll
drop off there at the moment from Chris Miller, and go back there at Jason Douglas.
Yeah, looks like Jason Douglas has gotten up to speed nicely in his car. We'll wait and see, though, if his pace can reflect his teammates.
Chris will get that down Conrad Straight, gets that back up, of course, in no time flat, but then through the corners, I thought the Radical's going to start chasing off a little bit. Now, Jared is here, so I'm just trying to think if Jared's by himself here at the moment. Just trying to look at...
he's not battling with anyone for position.
Yeah.
Andrew Proctor is like nearly 2 minutes ahead of him, and Jay Woolley in the Radical that has had all of the issues in this race so far is about, I'd call that 20 seconds-ish behind him. So, yeah, probably a good opportunity to bring Jared in for a mid-race interview and see what his perspective is.
Has crashed. We've got no pictures. So can you help us fix it? Oh, no. All right, here we go. We'll pull him now.
All right, and it looks like we will be joined ever so briefly by Jared Cole. You are muscling that car around, Jared. You were helping us sort out some issues with the overlays before the broadcast happened, so you haven't had as much track time as you'd like, but it looks like you're having fun out there.
Look, yeah, not the start I was hoping for, Rhys. G'day, folks. Hope you're all well out there. The opening couple laps weren't particularly kind to me, as you may have seen.
Yes.
But... yeah, look, that's just meant a bit of a change in strategy. I was never expecting to be fighting for, podium honours here tonight anyway. But if I can maintain my spot here a little, then I'll be pretty happy. I've gone into a pretty heavy fuel-saving map and just trying to catch some time up in the pit stops yet to come, really.
Yeah, the pit stops are certainly a big factor in this one, as that's almost into the wall coming out of Murray's. Indeed. So it looks like the next car up the road from you is Andrew Proctor, and we'll see what you can do to sort of make up that gap. You've got a long way to go, nearly 2 minutes gap to the next car, but how far do you think you can stretch the tank on that fuel map?
Look, I saw a leader come in, I think, a couple of laps ago. I'm gonna have to come in probably, look, if not this lap, then probably next lap anyway. So that'll be a bit of a reset. And look, I did obviously get a bit of a free hit, an extra 10 litres from getting towed back to the pits after that early incident. So that's probably throwing my calculations out a little bit, but. To give you an idea of it, I'm certainly off the pace, as I'm sure you can see. I was never going to get anywhere near the top pace regardless, but I'm probably, 2 or 3 seconds off the pace at the moment. and saving something like probably about 10% fuel per lap. So it's, it might pay off. And if it doesn't, at least I'll have fun trying something different.
Excellent stuff. Well, we wish you the best of luck with that one, Jared. It looks like you've got a bit more traffic to deal with, so we'll let you get back to it.
Thank you, boys. I'll chat to you soon, I'm sure.
All right. So that was Jared. I wanted to actually, we'll keep him, because we're going to focus on some of these battles as well, too, as we'll chat to him later on. I wanted to see, when these cars got absolutely stuck, like who could move. Jared didn't look like, could look like he'd move, but the other car couldn't move, right? They got involved in. Something's happened to Chris as well. I think he's had a little moment and gone off track here.
Okay, so...
you can hear the sliding in and bang in defense.
Ouchie.
Goodbye,
front bumper.
Slow accident. I'll just kick up all the kitty litter onto the exit corner as well, too. That might be a bit tricky for some of the drivers, but he headed into pit road as well, too, to get that damage fixed, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, fortunately, no one else involved. Now we turn our attention back to Chris Miller and Mitch Curry here, who are fighting for 6th and 7th overall. And Mitch is going to fire it up the inside at Murray's, the LMP3 Supreme on the brakes. Interesting to note as well, but there's a different variety of electronics on these cars too. The GTEs and the LMP3s both have traction control, but they do not have anti-lock braking systems. The Radical has no driver aids at all, so you do need to take very good care with it. Sequential transmission for the Radical, where you have to blip the throttle on the downshifts. The GTEs have basically a set and forget paddle shift transmission, and the same is true for the LMP3 as well. So, it's different ways of driving these cars. I mean, they've all got 4 wheels and an engine, but apart from that, incredibly different.
Well, not all of them. Some of them are missing a wheel when they have an accident. I know what you mean.
Yeah. That is but a temporary state of being, though.
A little battle brewing at the moment there for 5th and 6th in class as well, too, with Pete and Matthew Neal. Corvette versus Beamer. As practically remember, majority of the GT3s this evening are BMWs and 3 Corvettes that we have. A couple of Porsches and 1 Ferrari.
Yes, I do miss this era of GT racing. I understand why it ended. Like the GTE classes sort of evolved out of the old FIA GT2 class, and they were the main class of GT at Le Mans and in the World Endurance Championship for some time, but costs ended up spiraling out of control, especially with the manufacturer team involvement. So ultimately, GTE sort of collapsed in on itself and had to make way for GT3, which is sort of more cost-effective category. Still quite expensive, but at least a bit more cost-effective than these cars and a bit less bespoke than the GTEs were. No real customer racing in the GTE category, but they have more power, they have more freedom of aerodynamics, and a lot higher top speeds, and they can really get around a circuit quickly, especially in the slipstream. Matthew Monday has to make way for Pete Minette, who moves through at the chase, and see if Matthew Neal can find his way through too. Certainly can. And that's going to be Matthew Monday back to 14th.
Well, if you look at it, actually, he's got a meatball flag next to him, so it's got to come in.
Oh,
get some damage fixed. So I don't know where that was from, because I couldn't see anything on our messages there, but you saw that he didn't want to hold up those drivers too much longer, knowing that he had to go down the pit road, get those repairs chipped out. So that was a nice battle in class that they had too. Unfortunately, he's now going to drop to 6th in class, maybe even behind Aiden Harris, who's running in 7th place down the road, 17 odd seconds, which will cut by pretty quickly.
Yes. Well, I'm taking a look at Monday and trying to find out where the incident that gave him the mechanical black flag was. I think it might have just been some incremental damage over time, because a couple of glances off the wall, yes, but nothing major.
Okay, there you go. So 74% humidity, 24-degree track temperature, and it's cloudy. It's also getting into the evening as well too. As you can see, it'll get quite dark in a matter of time. It's what, 5:20 local time in the afternoon?
Yes.
Jason and Mitch Curry. Tell you what, for the boss man of MC, tonight he's certainly getting a lot of screen time from us, because he's been in the wars with a lot of cars around him.
Yeah, he's been steadily fighting his way to the front of the LMP3 class, and looks like managing to also grab the position over Angus Milne in the pit cycle as well. So things are working out nicely for Mitch Curry at the moment. And with a little bit of slipstream off that Radical ahead. Speaking of... Oh, no, Jared!
Yep.
Jared Cole jump scare at the cutting. Something has gone very wrong for the number 6. He manages to get rolling, but this is always hard in mouth stuff when you're trying to get that 3-point turn done to turn the car around. You don't know who's going to be coming around that corner next. Jared will be watching his F3 black box like a hawk, and fortunately enough space that he is able to get rolling again without any significant interruption to his or anyone else's race. But yeah, once again, the cutting claims a victim.
I've got to say, it's probably because of this traffic that was happening. Oh no, he's locked it up on his own, actually. Bang. That's why he's got the learner's thing on there on the side of his car there.
Yes, indeed. This is the onboard of it, and yeah, you could see the lockup happen, and it was very difficult to recover from it. I'm surprised that the car turned around like it did there as well. Very strange.
You just kind of think that it was going to inevitably head in the wall anyway, so he tried to correct it, but it just snapped even harder. And you kind of think if you get a chance to do it again, you might just let it right into the wall and let the car slow down with a bit of wall riding, if anything, right? So look at how much time he had to react to that, but we're not. He doesn't have slow-mo available when he's driving that car, so it's not easy to make that reaction. It's a nice little battle still brewing here at the moment. Mitch Curry's gone in, as well as Angus. So
second pit stop for the LMP3s.
Yeah, first and second in class 2. That'll be interesting with those drivers.
So what that's telling me, sorry to interrupt, is that the LMP3s can only make it 17 laps on a tank of fuel, maybe 18 laps if they fuel save, but then I think the stints are just too short for fuel saving to make a difference in the first place. So I think that's what we're going to expect from these guys from the start. Angus Milne has jumped out of the Everything Simulated 339 and has handed over to Scott Bartine.
Hey, Scott.
Yes. Familiar with Scott Bartine from the Formula Drivers League, where he was the inaugural champion of their Super Formula Lights series, and he does quite a bit of racing otherwise in multiple series in the AutoZ Sim scene.
Yeah,
Let's see how he matches up against Mitch Curry.
He's race control and safety car driver too for another series that I do production for with Super Formulas. The Formula Lights, Super Formula Lights that is. But yeah. So he's everywhere, Scotty, I swear, in Australian motorsports.
Yeah. Yes, he has made plenty of starts in various leagues. Meanwhile, Trevor Mortimer putting in a bit of a hard slog here. He and Jared Burns fighting over 8th place overall, and Trevor is trying his best here to gain things a little more on especially his Radical rivals who take up 4 of the top 5 positions. That was a little bit interesting there from Jared Burns. Fortunately, the GTE was with it and made space for him at McPhillamy Park, but that's not usually a place you see passing again for very good reason.
Oh, you don't. Well, he wants to distance himself, doesn't he? As much. Well, he's not battling in class because of Trevor at the moment, but let's see. Trevor's going to sit his nose out thinking, can I get it? No. Just, hits the the dirty air. Well, it was in the dirty air, but of course, just punches in the air and then bang. He needs that slipstream, doesn't he, from the car up the road? Otherwise, it just drops. That's how much pace it just drops off of 6th gear, just maximum revs.
I love this Radical SR8. I put a lot of time into it many years back when it still had an official series. The official race invasions that the Red Pepper Racing League would do back in the day. And myself and my FSR teammates had a great time in this car. I ended up figuring out a few things with the setup as well. It's a beautiful car to drive. Has a V8 engine in the back that is basically 2 Yamaha inline 4 motorcycle engines welded together.
Yeah, because I used to broadcast a couple of Radical series, and because they're still going strong, so it's just a great car to get into iRacing leagues and stuff like that to start getting a handle on. Of course, before you start trying out also a beginner's car, I'd say. You can tackle that car, you can tackle almost any car, can't you? Like you said, it's going to have all those assists that that drivers tend to rely on.
Yes, indeed. For sure. Have a look at the speed that's carried across the top. There is up the inside. The BMW has to take to the runoff area at the S's. And that is going to be,
Only problem with that is that you get a slowdown too on it, because he's just trying to do the right thing. He's like, I'm getting out of your way. I feel like I'm holding you up too much. And because by going off the track there, you also get punished with a slight slowdown. But slowdowns aren't too bad when you're in an endurance race like this because you've got plenty of time on the side. Of course, in sprint racing, that will be a bit more punishing for you.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of drivers will be thanking their lucky stars. This race is 180 minutes in length, as opposed to the sort of 45-minute races, I think, that the GTE series runs at the moment. Fight now happening here for Hornibrook as he's chasing down the Fishy Split 3 Jokers car of Peter Morris, who has taken over from his teammate in the last pit cycle.
Ian Ward's got a track somewhere. Here he is. So I was just wondering.
That's on the way out of the dipper. Yeah, it looks like he's been given permission to tow by race control without bringing the full course yellow out. So Ian Ward, who put this car on the front row. Oh, dear. That's terrible. Okay, and getting it going, he wasn't able to get it flicked around properly either. Very bouncy front body work, it seems.
Yeah. I love the physics of
boing, boing.
And sometimes you get shooting up into the air again. But luckily, he just managed to get it out of the way. That's what he was trying to do. He realized it was undrivable, has to request for a tow, but completely did the right thing, had enough time to get it off the racing line so he wouldn't have destroyed anybody else's pass. Race, that is. And, of course, there's Jackson Austin going up on the jacks, so he's got some new boots on that car. He's running second in class. Now, you'd expect Dougie to come in sometime soon.
Yeah, I would expect too. It looks like he's getting tyres changed as Jackson Austin, so potentially the Radicals are going to be changing tyres at every pit stop. And Jason Douglas is going to bring the JMR 800 Radical into the lane 2 after only 14 laps done. 24 laps complete for Jackson Austin, so I think that's a clue as to how long the overall stint should be for the Radicals. Evidently, the Radicals and GTEs are getting pretty similar mileage at the moment.
Now, will our race leader come in, Dougie, considering it's around the same time? He cleared that traffic before, so to be happy with that, to get on with it. And I'm not quite sure if he's going to go in, mate. No, doesn't. Pit lane entrance is right there, so it continues on for another lap.
Okay. Looks like a third driver entering the JMR 800 entry. So Troy Hollingworth started the car, and then we had Jason Douglas in it. Now Alex Zekas has jumped in And we'll be taking that car out on track in the race for the first time, just in time to see Simon Caplet try and get the run on him here in a straight line. The GTE having the inside line for turn 2. This is a fight for position, and Zekas just manages to keep it out of the wall there, as now he has to worry about another Radical behind. It's Doug Gowans, who is our overall race leader still.
Yeah, he lets Dougie through, of course, doing the right thing with the blue flags. I'm sure that was all mentioned in the driver's briefing that they had earlier before the race. Nice little battle there between Matthew and Pete, still out there for 4th and 5th in class. What's interesting is that Alex was in a tough spot, wasn't he? Came out of pit road and was right in the middle of that battle with Simon, and he had to, it's difficult. You've got to get the temperature up in those tyres because they're all cold. You're coming out straight into a fight. So I think it was very wise of Alex not to try to brave it too much there just yet, and see if he can work on getting past Simon a little later on. Patience is the key for endurance racing.
Certainly is. Especially when, I suppose, yes, this is a multi-class endurance race, but all of the classes are very similar on pace, and there is a prize for overall victory. So there is some motivation for you to actually race against different class cars for overall position. So, keeping an eye out for any further fights here. Well, this is the one. Pete Minette and Matthew Neal, they've kept each other close company throughout the majority of this race so far, and looks to me like, comparing lap times, Matthew Neal 3/10 quicker than Pete Minette on that previous lap, and it seems he's getting a bit straighter exits out of corners as well. Minette, you can see, especially out of Hell Corner there, when he got on the power, he got to the exit curb a lot earlier than Matthew Neal did, so it looks like the Corvette driver is focusing on narrow, straight exits, potentially to look after the tyres. Meanwhile, Pete Minette is going hell for leather.
And you got to remember up the road too, you've still got Alex and Simon going for a battle. Of course, they're not in, there are 2 different classes in them, 3rd and 4th in class. So you've got to be very careful with this. Yep, using as much chicanes as possible as we're on board there with the Corvette there with Matthew.
Oh, a little bit of a wall hit there. On the run up to McPhillamy. Every sim racer that has raced at Bathurst has left their mark at that part of the circuit, and I think pretty much every real world driver that's raced at Bathurst here in meet space has done exactly the same thing. Neil is struggling with the rear there into Forest Elbow. Obviously, the Corvette C8, a big change from the previous generation Corvettes, mainly being that the engine is not in the front of the car anymore. And so that changes the handling fundamentally for a car, having the engine in front of or behind the driver. And to add to that, Bathurst is the kind of track where, particularly across the top, you need to run that brake bias a bit further to the rear than you otherwise would, because that's the only way you can get the rotation through some of these corners. So it could be very easy to lose the rear. As the fight is on here for Alex Zekas, he gets the run on Simon Caplet and makes the move into turn 1. And that is well and truly through for the number 800, who's managed to make a pretty good recovery to only 2 positions down overall from where they started. Now it's truly a 3-way GTE fight again. The BMW in a Corvette sandwich, potentially an American bratwurst sandwiched in between 2 slices of American white bread. But it is the bratwurst that ends up ahead in turn 2.
Yeah, this is going to be fantastic. I'm sure Alex wanted to clear that as quickly as possible, because he probably knows, or at least the spotter would inform him that that battle of class is right behind him now, so he didn't want to be in the middle of it, that's for sure. And it's going to be fantastic between it. So, as you said, the Bratworth battle with the American bread.
Suppose if we want to keep with the sausage analogy, it's a bratwurst being trailed by 2 American hot dogs now.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I like that.
Kind you'd find at a baseball game. Yeah, the sandwich analogy only really works when a car is surrounded by two other cars of a different team or make, and that is no longer the case. Now the Corvettes are fighting amongst themselves, Simon Caplet and Matthew Neal. And Caplet, for the problems that he had towards the start of the race, he's actually recovered from them quite well. He is now 6 positions up from where he started overall. And if you want a prize for the most positions gained of anyone, currently belongs to Andrew Proctor in the SLM Academy number 13. That car is up 12 places from their starting position, which is quite impressive. Next pit stop in LMP3, meanwhile, for Jared Burns, the Blackhawk Motorsport 58. Looks like some really varied strategies here in the LMP3 classes. That's a Corvette kicking up some dust. The 717 once more finding some trouble.
Same spot. That's where you get your fold-out chair and your popcorn in this track at the moment. On this day on evening in Australia, of course, but evening race as well too. Been catching a few drivers off down there this evening.
That car's fresh out of the pits as well, so I think Benjamin Hornibrook might have been dealing with some cold tyres or maybe a bit of car imbalance from the extra fuel.
Thank you all for tuning in. It's 20 or so watching at the moment. We appreciate it. Make sure you give us a thumbs up there if you're enjoying the racing action. Of course, if you haven't subscribed to the Simple Racing broadcasts, please do. The boss man of this fantastic racing network is out there racing. He had to be on the damage clock before, and as we spoke to him, he had a little moment right here, actually, wasn't it? One little snap, and hit it into the fence to get back down there and get some. He's used a fast repair, I think, that last time we went to pit road. It was only a 4.25 stationary pit stop, but that's what you get your fast repairs for, and certainly an hour and a half approaching halfway distance through this race, you'd certainly be using one of them right now if you've got a couple to spare.
Yes. It's worked out okay for Jared in the end. He's managed to make up 4 positions from where he started, which was dead last, due to problems for other drivers around him. Hornibrook, PJ Whiteman, and Dean Powell, 2 GTEs and an LMP3. The fight is back on here for Matthew Neal, running a bit wide through Murray's, though. That's going to give some time back to Simon Caplet. And there's more battles that have formed now in the last few minutes. Not just those 2 GTEs, but 2 LMP3s as well. Lachlan Prince in the 764 ahead of Robert Hackwood, who's taken over the Adrenaline Esports number 33. And there's going to be a move here at Hell Corner. Ooh. How brave do you want to be on the brakes? Oh, man. Having driven a bit of LMP3 myself, I can tell you it's actually quite hard to outbrake someone in that car. It's a lot more difficult than you otherwise think. Meanwhile, well, actually, my apologies. We were looking at a completely different fight. It was Jared Burns and Dan Bartosh earlier. This is Robert Hackwood on the back of Lachlan Prince, who is running a Team Penske Porsche 963 livery on that machine. It was interesting, me flicking through the cars, and I just saw the rear wing of that 764 as the move could be made into the chase here on the brakes. Very late for both of them, and Robert Hackwood is through. But yeah, I saw Porsche on the rear wing just pop into the bottom of my frame, and I'm like, that doesn't sound like a Porsche. It sounds like a deep throaty V8. I flicked ahead, and it was an LMP3 just running a Porsche Tribute livery.
There you go. So that's that battle, of course, in class that you saw. That's for 6th and 7th. Meanwhile, still the battle of the Corvettes. That's up there between Simon and Matthew. That's 4th and 5th in class. And with Pete up the road from them, running 3rd in class. And Alex is getting past the Kodak livery there. What's happened to Trevor? Oh, Trevor's just... I think Trevor might have come off there. And
that, yeah.
He has.
That's a clue. There should be a big old tea tray on the back of that Radical. Oh dear, that's a problem for Lachlan Prince a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
I remember Race Control calling this one out. They said careful out of turn 1, and it's a spin at the dipper for the 82 of Trevor Mortimer.
That's where he damaged it up when he backed it into the
Ah.
fence. Yeah.
Yeah, that rear wing overhangs the rear bumper a little bit more than you expect. And, you know, I always think, like, the rear wing, it always surprises me how much a rear wing contributes to the look of a car. Because when that Radical lost its wing, suddenly it just didn't look like a Radical anymore.
Yeah.
It looked more like a spec racer Ford.
It's like those Formula One cars many years ago. Remember, they never had a front wing or a rear wing as well.
Yeah.
That short
yeah,
period of
course.
time. Oh, what's happened to Scott there? Whoa!
Oh, no.
Scott
Bartine in the
Bartine.
wall at the dipper.
Now, I know he drives a safety car for another series, but this time he's not. He's got to get this turned around.
Oh, collects the wall as
It's almost
well.
impossible to turn it around really without hitting the wall, isn't it? It's certainly because you got. If you had all the time in the world to do it, no problems. But unfortunately, you've got cars coming around them up the mountain and down the mountain quickly, and so you've just got to just yank it and turn it, and of course you're going to get some damage to it. But you know, that's the sacrifice you make because you don't want to destroy somebody else's race.
Yeah, exactly. And for the record, Bartine, after he made his mistake, it was just a clip of the wall on the way out of Skyline that sent him in there. He made sure to wait at a standstill
Yeah.
for the rest of the field to go by. But yeah, all it takes is a little glance off the wall at the apex at the top of the hill, and you end up in the fence at the bottom.
Meanwhile, Matthew Neal with that fight, he's elected to go in the pit road and try a little bit of a undercut scenario there on his fuel.
Only 19 laps.
Scott had to go in for that damage. Unfortunately, Dougie's still in the lead. Dylan Gray in the lead in his class of the GT3s there. Chris Miller down the road by 44 seconds from Dylan.
Excuse me.
And just about almost shy of a minute short of Dougie Gowan.
Yes. So things are going very well for Doug Gowans at the moment. Oh, problem at the cutting. We've got a BMW around, and that's Pete Minette. Ended up holding up Dylan Gray for a few seconds. Just sneaking through there was Ian Ward. Oh dear. And now comes the slow
It's a
3,
dangerous-
4, 5-point turn. That is right at the exit. Yeah, you're right, Dean. It's, this is tough. This is tough. Oh, traffic jam incoming.
Jared gets past there. Yep. Very lucky. Very, very, very lucky. Oh. It's always
Jeez.
a scary moment, isn't it? I didn't see that.
I'm actually amazed that Minette and everyone else involved got away from that without damage. It did end up costing Dylan Gray quite a bit of time, though, so stay on this replay for a few more seconds if you can. Roundy goes at the dipper. Corvette finds its way through, and then the Radical, and then Dylan Gray will emerge in just a few moments. There he is. Had to stamp on the power, chuck it in reverse, and then spin up the rears to get it going again. So already was losing time to Doug Gowans for the overall lead of the race, but now Gray is 27 seconds behind.
Yeah, but with the glass being half full, not half empty, you got to say that if that happened a little bit earlier, he might not have had no time to react to that. It could have absolutely smashed in the side of him. It could be, certainly a P1 in class might have been done and dusted for him. So things could have been a lot worse.
Indeed. Fortunately, Dylan Gray has been so quick in that GTE that he wasn't even under any pressure before
that's a
he had
sin.
that problem.
Whoa.
Oh, God. Oh, Hackwood there getting up the inside of Andrew Proctor, and Isaac Edwards is going to follow him through there. This is this is going to be an interesting matchup. Isaac Edwards can't go any faster than that in the LMP3. Has to tuck in behind the GTE to get a little speed boost and avoid losing too much more time to Hackwood.
Well, Proctor's going to be thinking about trying to take that one back at the moment, but it's not. And don't just say they go on a pit road. Harris goes in the pit road, sorry, up the road.
Yeah, so everyone's going to be staying out here, and yeah, both Hackwood and Edwards are a long way away from their next stop. About 6 laps away for Hackwood and 7 laps away for Edwards. Andrew Proctor is 18 laps into his stint at the moment, and as we saw, the GTEs can make it 25 or 26 laps on a full tank, so they're going to be racing for a while yet.
So there you have it, all your leaders, of course, in the classes. So Curry leading in his class, doing a solid drive as well too. Mitch Curry up 5 places. Dougie up 1 place there, leading in his class. And Gray, as you saw just before, almost getting into a wrecked, very lucky, of a 34-second lead over Chris Miller in his class. As we are just officially now over the halfway point of this race.
Yeah, I'm surprised how quickly it's flown by. This has been a very exciting event. You know, when I when Jared first told me that there was a spot open for this event, I thought, okay, yep, it's an interesting format, interesting cars. Wonder how exciting it's going to be, though. Am I going to have to be in it for the long haul and try to make some notes on things to talk about? I haven't had to do that because there's been non-stop action all the way through this event.
Yeah, it is fantastic you should get that, because sometimes in endurance races, especially in 24-hour races too, is like if there's not a big stack of field out of 60 cars or something like that out there, then it can get pretty quiet. But we haven't really had much moments where we haven't seen at least 2 or 3 cars only separated by a second. And look at these 3 cars here at the moment, separated by a second between Proctor, Prince, and Edwards.
Oh, unfortunately, there's been some more problems for Ian Ward. He's had to tow back to pit lane, and looks like he's blown his engine. He downshifted a bit too aggressively on the way into turn 2. So Ian Ward is out for the moment. This is just after the engine died. It was, the Radical, as I mentioned earlier on in the broadcast, is... we have to manually blip the throttle on the way down the gears, and I think Ian might have given it a bit too much stick on one particular downshift, and the engine just grenaded itself.
Does he have any fast repairs left?
That is the question. This is only the 3rd time he's been in pit lane, so yeah, remember you got to account for the tow time as well before you can actually get repairs started, and Bathurst is especially brutal for tow times. Like, if you have to pull over to the side of the track and tow, the closer you are to pit lane entry, the quicker your tow time is. So if you have an incident up at turn 2, you can expect a minute or 2 before you can actually get back into the car. If you have an incident here up the top and you have to tow from here, you're going to be waiting for 3 minutes or longer before you can get access to your car again.
Oh, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't go directional to the track. It just goes by sheer distance, right? As you said.
Yeah, I believe so, because like it simulates the car being loaded onto a tow truck and driven back to pit lane, and I think it is just a relative distance thing. I could be wrong on that. I don't know the specifics.
Oh, it makes sense. It makes sense because the tow truck would use the escape roads, of course, and take it back to pit road. That is if you have them. Well, not all tracks actually would have them, but he's in there at the moment for about 2 minutes, just keeping an eye on that. So,
can't imagine what the tow time would be at Rainbow Road.
Or Le Mans.
No escape roads at all on that.
Or Neuschleife.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Le Mans and Nordschleife, of course, but at least you'd have roads to drive on. Mario Kart doesn't necessarily have that luxury, does it?
No.
All right, so...
Oh, Jared's gone off track somewhere too, as Dougie comes in from the race lead.
Yes, Doug Gowan's at the end of his 24th lap. And into pit lane he will come. He's basically under no pressure at all right now, is he?
Oh. Well, he's going to teach his young guns some tricks, isn't it, old Doug? Let's see what's happened here, Jared. Maybe this is Jared just getting out of the way. Yeah, that's what it is, actually, come to think of it. So he's just allowing a lap car to come through there, and he didn't want to cause any problems, and that's just that's triggered the off-track excursion. So thankfully, the boss of Simple Racing Broadcast is okay. Still in it. There you go, Dougie. Gets on the... oh, actually, who was that? That was Ian. That's Ian Wood. So
that was Ian. Yep.
Yeah, Ian's definitely probably used his fast repairs 3 minutes that he had, which was practically all tow time.
Yes.
Dougie's just
so maybe
Dougie's had enough time probably run to the bathroom and come back into the car.
Yeah. This is this is a 36-second stop.
He didn't take tyres,
which I think is par for the course when it comes to radicals. No, didn't look like he did. So 2 stints on the tyres. Looks like it's going to work out well for the radicals. And on a fuel-only stop, you can expect it to take about 37 seconds or thereabouts. 36 for Doug Gowans, who will come out in second overall with 29 seconds to Dylan Gray, but remember, we are still waiting on the next stop from Gray, which should come in the next few laps.
Yeah, he did usually box a couple laps after. Whoa! Hold onto it, Pete. Good save.
Holy boy. Pete Manette really pushing hard in this fight with Matthew Neal.
And Trevor behind him too. You see in his rear camera. So he's got Trevor Mortimer that is trying to put some pressure on him, of course, but Trevor's in a different class car, but still that doesn't matter because they still want that overall victory, as you mentioned. They've got a long way to go to catch Dylan, Dougie.
It was very wide on the entry to the S's. Oh, caution at the elbow. There's been another problem for Brian East. He's found the barrier down there.
There he is, to the right.
Yeah.
That should clear him.
Wow, no rear bodywork on that Ligier at all. Get a nice view of the engine and the rear suspension.
There's some photos out there for your for the opposing team. So go, there you go. Oh, why don't we do that?
And then they take off the engine cover of their car and realize, it's a spec category. We've all got the same equipment. Whoops-a-daisy. But that is a big whoops-a-daisy for Brian East, losing it under brakes there. And I think especially coming down into Forest Elbow, it's so easy to lose the rear. I've been to this circuit in real life. I have walked a lap on foot. And trust me, the run into Forest Elbow is way steeper than you think it is. It is a cliff of asphalt that rises up above you from the spectator area. So when you lose the rear, it's practically impossible to recover because you're going downhill.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, unfortunately, you've got gravity not on your side in that case. Yep, that's just going to just force you down. So Chris Miller goes in from second in class after... Dylan Gray still is scheduled to come back in as well too for his pit stop. We're still seeing this battle here with Trevor and Pete and Matthew up the road. You saw them just thankfully avoiding that accident before there with Brian East. Could have been a little bit nasty if they arrived at that scene a few seconds earlier.
Yes, fortunately East managed to get rolling and out of the way in time. Back on board with Trevor Mortimer in the... whoa, that's... I think that was that Jared?
Jared, I think it was, yeah.
They just made their way past, yeah. Very slow at Skyline to let these guys go. Doesn't want to be a thorn in their side through this section. It always amazes me. Slightly deep there for... Pete Manette. He's going to lose touch with Matthew Neal, and now Trevor Mortimer will stick in behind him as the speed builds up for the GTE, and it just blasts away down Conrod again.
Yeah.
It always strikes me just how open the cockpit of this Radical is, because we've grown very used now to sports cars and prototypes being either closed roof or closed cockpit, or with at least a cover on the non-driver side of the cockpit, but the Radical SR8 is from a time where that was not the case.
Yeah, and it'd be fun having all that wind in your face and stuff like that, isn't it? And be a lot cooler in that cockpit, no doubt. These are pretty cool conditions as well, too, as we get into the evening. So we'll look at that weather. Of course, yeah, safety-wise now, you'd be like, oh, guys, I'm not really that confident on hopping into the... Of course, they've got the roll bar behind the head. That's it. You know, bits of carbon fibre and those bonnets and body parts that have been kicking off on the track here this evening. Come up there and hit you in the head with that. Oh, not going to be too pretty.
No, certainly not. Radical SR8 is a car that you can buy, and it is possible to drive Radicals from your home to the racetrack. It's a big selling point of Radical cars.
Without tough laws? I mean, in the States you can drive practically anything, mate. You can have no exhaust on your car and be legal.
True. Radical, of course, being from the UK, they would have been designed to UK design standards. But yeah, much of the Radical range, I believe even in Australia, it is possible to drive them legally on the road. But of course, iRacing's SR8 has slick tyres fitted to it, I believe, which certainly wouldn't fly on a public road in any country.
Oh, maybe States. Maybe.
In like New Mexico or Arizona where it never rains.
Trevor and Matthew. Starting to get some nice little battles brewing again. So back into Isaac Evans here, who's got Lachlan Prince behind him. They are 6th and 7th in class. They're just trying to get past the BMW there of Andrew Proctor, who's currently running 6th in class himself.
Yes. So Lachlan Prince, with that recent excursion on the Exeter Hell corner, is looking to make some kind of recovery. Isaac Edwards is having a profitable day so far, up 5 places. Proctor, just up ahead, gaining 14 places now on his overall starting position. And at slipstream time once more, the LMP3 can usually only hit about...
Bogs out there, doesn't it? Yeah. 263.
Yeah, in the slipstream, it hits about 270 on the way down into the chase. Mitch Curry brings his LMP3 into pit lane.
That's his face.
And that will promote Dylan Gray back up to 3rd overall, as Jackson Austin in the 41 Radical is still many laps away from his next pit stop.
What's Scotty going to do here? Scotty does know, not like the song Scotty doesn't know. Oh, Scotty knows motor racing. I feel like you're just like in a roller coaster, isn't it? You're just like, you lose your guts as you go down over that drop. Absolutely amazing. Imagine what it would feel like to be in a race car. I've never had the opportunity. Of course, you can buy yourself a spin around these sort of things, and when they do those racing events, probably even at Bathurst as well too, if you got the coin, a couple of grand to spend to ride shotgun. So it'd be a great feeling.
Yes, I can't imagine the sort of weightlessness you'd feel going down through the dipper. Once again, having actually stood on the track there at the apex of the dipper, let me tell you, I'm surprised we don't see cars go airborne there more often. It's quite the step down.
So Mitch Curry's come out right behind Michael here. So he's going to want to clear him as quickly as possible. Michael is 2nd in class at the moment. But you got a feeling that Curry's really enjoying this race, isn't he? He's certainly had the pace. And he wants to continue his lead in class because he's got a 9-second gap with Jared Burns down the road behind him.
Yeah, and it looks like pretty much every other LMP3 is off strategy to him as well. So I don't see Mitch Curry's lead disappearing anytime soon unless he has a problem. Touch wood.
And of course, you're never too far away. You're always still thinking there's a possibility of a race win. Even though he's, gap to Dougie is about a minute and a half. But you never know if anything happens, of course, to those drivers up front. And Scotty gets a slowdown as well. It's an opportunity
Not ideal.
for Mitch Curry to try to send one up the inside. No, elects to back off in Hell's Corner. See if we can get it up here.
Meanwhile, 2 other LMP3s in the pit lane. Isaac Edwards bringing the race on Oz car in, and the 764. Oh, God. Oh, dear. Not ideal. Looks like he's escaped the worst possible damage, but still a few dings and dents on that car. Driver change in the 764. Lachlan Prince handing over to Jaden Bercianu. Looks like another 3-driver team in that car with Lucas Harvey taking to the start of the race. And so that will then result in, actually Isaac Edwards managing to gain quite a bit on that Team 4SS car because of the driver change. If you select a driver change in iRacing, it is a flat 30 seconds that it takes on your pit time. Yeah. Oh, wow. So if you stay in the car and your pit service takes less than 30 seconds, you are golden. Isaac gained about 7 seconds or so on the 764 just by staying in the car.
Well, unfortunately, we got something from Jared because oh
my God,
that is huge. Now
that's the biggest incident we've seen so far outside of the one near the start.
Yeah, I might have to actually.
Well, that thing's broke.
I'll have to rewind. I'm not a fan of rewinding, but I wanted to. We got to get to the scene of the accident here for the boss man. Let's have a look what's happened to poor Jared. All right.
The curb of death at McPhillamy.
Yeah.
Tried to hold on to it and ended up getting another car on the scene right there as well. I don't know who the other car was. It looked like an LMP3. But regardless, oh my goodness me.
I'm not sure this is the highlight I really would like to see.
No.
Who was the other car?
Motion blur makes it hard to read the number.
Is it Benjamin? No, it wasn't Benjamin. This is Benjamin, but having another moment. That's a lockup, isn't it? Into the final corner. Seen that a few times.
Yes.
Maybe
caution near Forest Elbow. The fishy Ferrari stopped. It looks like it was the 195, actually, that had its issue.
Yeah. That was this Dan one. This was the Dan one I'm looking at the replay here. Oh, this is when he just went off-track excursion. Even more off-track.
Yeah.
Very slow, isn't it, coming out of the corner? That's full speed too.
Yeah. Meanwhile, permission to tow has been given to the fishy Ferrari, who played a bit of ping pong with the walls at the lower end of the S's and the dipper.
Peter, isn't it? Peter Morris.
Mm-hmm. So that car's now back in pit lane. Yeah, this was after the main incident. One final hit to the wall. It was coming down the hill where he had his issues.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So it all starts at the second apex here over the curb, unsettled, no braking going on if your car wheels are in the air, and then it was crabbing, and nothing Peter Morris could really do to recover the car from there.
I like the old classic Ferrari throwback there.
Yeah, I do like the Ferrari 488. The first of two, well, actually joint with the Ford GT, the first GTE cars to be added to the iRacing service. I'm a little disappointed that there's no Fords in this one, but I mean, I haven't driven GTE in a very long time, but that was very close. I haven't driven GTE in a long time, but I do remember the Ford being on a little bit more of a knife edge than the Ferrari, so potentially drivers have decided it's a little bit too unsafe for an endurance race like this.
Ian's trying to fight his way back up after having to spend that 3 minutes and change down in pit road earlier after that big shunk that you saw. And he's cleared Matthew Monday, and he's got Dan up next, which will, under the assumption that Dan might have a bit of damage because he didn't go down a pit road that time around, or did he? I don't remember, actually. Lap 52 he went down. That was, yeah, he did go down pit road, so he come back out.
Fair enough. So now Ian Ward on the recovery here. He's had quite a few adventures despite starting in third place. He has not been able to hold on to that, but he will be granted one more overall race position here with the Radical's straight line speed advantage over the LMP3, which is going to happen at some point, I'm sure. Or is it? Hang on a minute. I thought the Radical would be faster than the LMP3 in a straight line, but apparently that's not the case. They're pretty equal, if not the LMP3 having a bit more to go. That's a cloud of smoke down at the chase, and a bit of gravel being thrown up on the apex too. Something has happened ahead. What exactly? We don't know.
It was Chris Croat, mate. I think that's what's happened. But we'll go back and have a look at that in a minute. Just want to see how Ian's going to look at dispersing the 195. I think it might be easy pickings really at the moment, isn't it? Down into Hell's Corner.
Yeah, the race pig is certainly looking quick at the bottom end of the circuit there. For sure. Haven't seen any livery before make use of that particular feature of the Radical SR8.
Oh, I've seen a Peppa Pig one before.
Oh.
Yeah. George.
Oh! That's Manette. Pete Manette's walled it at the cutting. And that's quite heavy contact for the BE Electrical race on Oscar. It looks like that car's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Hopefully it's just off the racing line. That'll be probably going in for a tow. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, there's a lot of cars about to come around as well. So you're going to see about 5, 6, 7 cars, and he's towed before that, thankfully.
Yes, indeed. Track clear from race control. What happened to Pete? Oh, narrow line on the way into the cutting, and the only place you can go from there is the outside wall.
Very unfortunate. This is what happened to Chris earlier too.
I guess the mystery incident down at the chase. Oh, caught the grass on the apron on entry. And the smoke that we saw was actually gravel dust that had been thrown up there. Manages to pull it up in time for the apex and get back on track, but that was scary.
Now, I need just that one. Are we looking at just that one retirement at the moment? I think it was there of Dean. You mentioned just probably didn't have any more fast repairs to use, and that blown engine, we said as well too, is out. Was it Dean? But no, was it Dean the blown engine? I don't remember back that far now. That was nearly 2 hours ago.
Right, actually, was it? Yeah, I'm not sure. Ian Ward did blow his engine about 20 minutes ago or something like that.
Had to use that fast repair after he got that tow. And is currently back up in 5th in class, and as you can see on the timing tower, 12th overall. Now, have we missed something in the... Oh, Jackson Austin's on a completely different pit stop strategy. Remember, he went down on lap 37. Alex went down on lap 37 as well too. So it's some time ago now, whereas Dylan Gray did go in on lap 50, and then lap 48 was Dougie. I'll show you those lap times counters as well too on the timing tower, so we kind of got both.
Yes, Jackson Austin way offset on strategy from Doug Gowans. So we should expect him to come back into the pits in the next 4 laps or so. And that will promote Dylan Gray back to 2nd overall. This fight continuing between Andrew Proctor and Isaac Edwards for 16th overall, and it's the same story as since the start of the race, as we see the LMP3 making up lots of time over the top, but as soon as they get on the power out of the elbow, bye-bye Bimmer. Meanwhile, Alex Zekas now has the fastest lap of the race. It's been brought down officially to a 158.7.
Dougie's not going to like that, is he?
No.
Who dare takes my fastest lap? Trevor and Scott Bartine as well. Having a nice little battle. Two different cars, of course, there. Radical and the LMP3.
How brave is Trevor Mortimer going to be on the brakes here? Or is he content to stay behind Scott Bartine and maybe save a bit of fuel, try to extend his next stint, is the question. They will pass by Jared Burns as Burns has made his way into pit lane. It looks like Scott Bartine is about 3 laps away from his next pit stop, so that should work out in the favour of Jared Burns. He'll move back past. But apart from that, not much more to say in the LMP3 top 3 battle. Mitch Curry is dominating his class at the moment, running in 5th overall, which, considering everything that's happened for the LMP3 so far, I think is quite impressive.
He's having a fantastic run, of course. Mitch Curry up 5 places. And still pretty good lap
Officially
times
1
as
hour
well.
to go.
Yeah, the top 5, they're in the 59 clubs in their last laps. So with Alex being the 58th at the fastest lap, so that's the time difference you're looking at. And then a lot of the midfield there from about Trevor. And just behind Scotty here at the moment are doing the just shy of the 2, averaging around the 2-minute lap markers. Or as you said, the remaining hour of this race now.
Yeah, so for our race leader, it's going to be just bang on 30 laps remaining. And 30 laps at some circuits might not seem like much. It's not nothing, but certainly achievable. At Mount Panorama, you're committing to an hour of driving with 2-minute lap times. So this race leader certainly has a bit more to think about, as looks like Matthew Monday's picked up another black flag, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's had to go into pit road. Now, there could be a lot of these incident points coming into play there, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Them, and which is basically off-track excursions and stuff like that, and that iRacing will deem that black flag, and you're going to go in and serve your drive-through. Unless you didn't get any race control messages about saving it.
Nah, no race control message there. So it is incident limit, which, for the record, this server has been set up at a 30 incident limit before a drive-through. Then every 15 incidents thereafter, there is no disqualifying incident limit.
Ooh,
so there's no chance of you going, oh, there we go. Move done around the outside of Reed Park.
Yeah, race control at the moment looks like Nathan is controlling that. I think that's Nathan J. Allen, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll be looking at a lot of that and letting drivers know, which is fantastic to have. And as Michael heads into pit road now.
Oh, yes. So this will be the next pit stop for this particular Radical, who's running last in class and down in 20th place. It's been a difficult one for Michael Brennan, and it looks like he's going to hand that one back to Jay Woolley.
Yeah. This is all right, Jay. Get out there and turn some fast laps on. Is there anything they're giving out to for fastest lap award or anything like that? Or just bragging rights?
I don't think so.
Scotty just gets
I think
the
it's just
fastest lap.
bragging rights. Well, there we go. Jackson Austin down to a 158.6.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive there.
9 seconds off Dougie at the moment. And that P2, so they've got to navigate a bit of traffic. Right, there he is there.
Yeah, you mentioned, Scotty, it is quite impressive that he's been able to wring that pace out of the LMP3. His fastest lap is a 158.605. 4 thousandths of a second slower than Jackson Austin's fastest lap. So, yeah, all the classes are competitive in their own way. I think just the problem for the Radicals and the LMP3s is the fact that if they're behind a GTE across the top, they're just bleeding time. That's another problem for the Fishy 310 spin out of Forest Elbow. So they'll get going again with, there seems no damage. They ended up reversing it. It was contact with one of the Radicals there, and a little bit of a donk to the wall, but nothing that cosmetically damaged the car.
And he backs up there so he can do that U-turn.
Back up to speed.
Yeah, this is
good to see.
This is actually cost a bit of time now, because you can see, even though he set the fastest lap on that last lap there for Mr. Austin, he's now dropped about 2-3 seconds to Dougie with this traffic that he's had to navigate. Maybe that was the traffic that Dougie had to navigate a little bit earlier as well. It starts costing you a bit of time.
I don't think it's going to be that relevant in the grand scheme of things, though, because Jackson Austin is reaching the end of his 24th lap, and I would expect him to come into pit lane right now. There he goes.
Good call. As Scott did as well.
Yes, so 17 laps complete, full stint for Scott Bartone, 24 laps full stint complete for Jackson Austin.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense as to why they started setting fastest laps between them, because they were running on vapors.
Yeah. And I suppose the traffic just coalesced in just the right fashion for them to get maximum pace out of it. But consistency of pace is more important in a 3-hour endurance event, and that's what Doug Gowans has had on his side. He has not been the fastest man on track for some time now, but maintaining that what has now become a nearly 47-second lead over Dylan Gray. He's just been smart with traffic, he's kept it clean, and he's kept the pace consistent. His average speed, I think, has been some of the best of anyone in this middle part of the race.
And you got to give it to him. It's not bad for an old timer. He's probably maybe the oldest driver out in the field there. And as you get older, mate, I don't know about yourself, but you start to feel pains a lot more and more all over your body. So you got to give it to him. He's doing it good, especially in endurance races too. That's when you start aches and pains a lot more, especially on your feet too with the pedals. As you can imagine, having to slap the brake pedal down, depending on how much of a load cell pedal you'd have. And of course, with the steering wheels too, the direct drive steering wheels and stuff like that, you can imagine you probably wouldn't have it as a high setting like some of these other drivers, but it's tough.
Yeah, it certainly is. I used to main the HPD, the old LMP2, in endurance leagues down here, and there was a point where we were driving for 3 or 4 hours at a time in my team, and I was able to do it back then in my early 20s, but certainly can't do that now.
Scotty Bartone back out after his pit stop there, so he is dropped back to 11th overall. He's running third in class. He's got his head down there and see if he can look at overtaking Simon up the road, at least with the Corvette, so he can start working on Jared Burns. I think Mitch Curry's a little bit out of reach at this point. But once again, you never know what happens at Mountain.
Yeah, all it takes is one error, one coming together with another car, and the entire face of the race changes at this circuit. Jared Burns has sort of pitted 3 laps earlier than Scott Bartine did. So they're reasonably close on strategy, but not quite close enough for it to be a full head-to-head race between them. But if Scott Bartine can keep up the pace that we've seen him carry, then it should be good. Here he goes for the move on Simon Caplet around the outside of the cutting. We've seen that work out terribly before, and Bartine backs out of it. He's going to have to stick behind the Corvette across the top, and this will allow Jared Burns to jet away a little more.
Yeah, it can get a little bit frustrating for a driver to say, damn, if I could have just got that there and I would have cleared him, and now I have to follow. That's perfectly fine out there in the chat we had before they go. Car 7. Oh, don't do it there.
Oh, no.
You're just putting your faith so much into the other driver, just seeing you and basically lifting and saying, all right, you can go through, because I don't want to be going side by side. But not all drivers have that gentleman's agreement, per se. Look at that little bit of a lockup, and that's it. That's job done. He'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah, for sure. Props to Simon Caplet for keeping it out of the wall too.
So 764, so to get back on that one, that was the car of Jaden, who's just letting you know out there, because, you know, we do like to listen to the audience as well, and to make you feel like you're participating. We want to show certain cars and stuff like that, and we can do that, and we certainly have a time in our endurance race. Jaden's 7th in class, 4 positions down from where he started this race, but he's still in that. I'm not sure who that car up the road is, but they're not battling for position currently at the moment there.
Yeah, Jaden Bercianu, the third driver to take over that 764 entry. And it's interesting seeing the variety of driver lineups that we got here. We got plenty of teams running as a solo entry. I believe Doug Gowans and Dylan Gray are going to be committing to that one, but we've had some teams with 2 drivers sharing a car, and a few with 3 drivers sharing the car. It is something that you've got to factor into your strategy once again, due to that flat 30 seconds that a driver change takes in iRacing.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to make up that 30 seconds if your driver changing. As Nathan Allen, of course, was a race controller, to chime in and say that's why Doug needs a nap every day. A couple of power naps. I have an afternoon power nap if I can, but that's because I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to do some broadcasts, and then do one around midday, and then in the evenings now. So got to get a few Z's in there when you can.
Yeah, I got to do the same this weekend, because I've got the I've had the incredible honor and privilege to be included in the broadcast team for the IMSA Esports Global Championship. Oh, nice. And for me here in WA, I basically got to be working from midnight to 6 a.m. on a Monday morning. So I think Sunday is going to be a day of rest as the Lord decreed.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Oh, that'd be fun. Look forward to that then. Yeah. I won't be able to watch it, unfortunately, because I'll be doing a broadcast around that time as well. But, you know what it's like. I can't even get a chance to watch Formula 1 these days. There's too many leagues are running around at a similar time.
Yeah, indeed.
Did you watch
sim racing
autonomous
exploding.
racing event that they had the other day? Like,
I saw a YouTube short about it.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it was compared to what it was last year. It was actually a lot quicker. Whoa, here we go.
Ooh. Tap of the brakes on the exit of turn 2 for Matthew Neal, and Jared Burns is through into 8th overall. Matthew Neal not too far away from his next pit stop, and I think Jared Burns is going to be very appreciative of that little tap of the brakes there, because it means he can go full bore across the top of the mountain.
And as Bono would say, it'd be on the radio to Jared Burns. It says it's hammer time.
Absolutely. But there's no all right stop. So at least until you get to Forest Elbow anyway. So that's the only battle on track at the moment. Sorry.
Oh, you're right. No, sorry, I was going to say, do you think it's time to check in on our Simple Racing broadcast man again? Because he's had another event, as we saw earlier. I mean, we know he's okay. He's back in the car, isn't it? But
Yeah.
I wonder if he was flipping mad or if he was having some flipping fun on that one.
Yeah.
He's got the flip record at the moment. He's the one that's rolled out. I think he's the only car that's actually had a rollover.
Yes, we've seen a couple of cars go airborne, but no one has managed to completely overturn their car like Jared Cole, who was having a far from simple race.
Yeah, I love the learners he's got. At least he's letting everybody know, hey, I'm learning. I'm a learner. Well, speaking of which, Jared, we're going to pull you back in again because, first of all, you're okay, I presume. And, wow.
Look, yeah, doing okay, Biggles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't entirely planning on that one, but anyway, just overcooked it a little bit up and over Skyline, and just lost a tiny bit of extra front end grip on that left hander, and it was enough to just slide me out to the curb. And I thought I'd oh no,
Oh,
that's on us.
Yeah, look, I thought there was no. I'm still dealing with a little bit of damage from just tapping the wall there last lap as well, and I don't actually know how bad it is at the moment, but it's it's not ideal, and I tell you what, flipping a car in VR is not as much fun as you might think.
Wow. We'll let you concentrate for a second because you've got
not.
a gaggle of cars and we need to get past you, so we'll just let him take a
Let's
breather.
let them roll on through.
Yeah, I was going to say you're taking the escape road. Probably even give you a slowdown for that, but there it is.
It's honestly, it's not worth me worrying too much about. At this point, I'm just happy to be finishing in the top 10 after the run that I've had tonight. I have made full use of my fast repairs. I figure there's no point in wasting one, right, and leaving it on the table. So we've used all three of those. But yeah, look, otherwise, just trying to make it to the end in one piece now.
Yeah, well, still got 44 minutes of racing to do, about 22 laps or thereabouts. So best of luck, Jared, and hopefully you don't have any big scares like the one we saw from you earlier.
Yeah, look, I'll try and keep it on the track this time, hey? Thanks, boys.
All right. Thank you.
It's comparatively easy, I suppose, to keep it on the track at Bathurst, especially up the top. The only problem is there's concrete walls everywhere. So if you mess
good
up,
on Jared
that's
for
where you
having
go.
a chin wagon to us as well. It's not always easy to be driving and doing that, but he says obviously his objective is to bring it home, and he certainly can do that. And it's just at the point where you've got a lot of traffic through as well too, don't you? So it also hinders on your race trying to go any quicker. But it is what it is. As I said, he's having fun. And he actually gets to drive for once, because he's usually at the other end, up here with us, pointing the cameras and commentating.
Indeed. Isaac Edwards has gone off track at turn 2.
Oh, yeah. First of all. Oh, that was...
Oh.
This is Travis. That's had a moment. We'll go back to Isaac now.
So Isaac making his... Oh, okay. Also a problem for car 150 as well. Geez, all the LMP3s are having some kind of trouble, apart from our leader over the course of this race. Isaac, it was just a compression lock, it looks like. On the downshift, the rear tyres just went, no thanks, we're not going to keep rolling. And around Isaac went into the barrier at turn 2. Or was it into the barrier? Well, there may have been a slight little tap, but all up, it looks like Isaac did a pretty good job at slowing that thing up. He's gotten away from it with barely any damage.
And especially if you've used any of your fast repairs up, like Jared has now, you've just got to be very cautious. I don't think he has. Maybe he's one. Here's the battle at the moment between Simon and Dan. This for, believe it or not, they're 4th and 4th in class, and they're currently 12th and 13th overall.
So Dan Bartish has had a bit of an up and down race, but it's been good in the short term here recently, up 7 places. Simon Caplet fresh out of the pits. Meanwhile, in his GTE, no chance for a move there. Had another pit stop in the Radical class, meanwhile. Trevor Mortimer bringing the number 82 in after 24 laps complete. 23 laps done on that stint for Matthew Neal in the ANZ CRL GT number 5 Corvette. And it looks like he won't end up losing out to Simon Caplet out of this one. So I think there's not much to say about the battles for position in GTE at the moment. Pretty much every GTE is separated from the other by one car, apart from the 3 last running ones, or 3 or 4 last running ones.
You can see they're coming around now. That's Simon. He's about to come around the final corner. Matthew's about to exit out of the first corner. Well, he'll actually get the exit out just past Hell's Corner there, onto the front straight. And then Dan will be there in the background.
So some time made up. We will see the gap in between Matthew Neal and Simon Caplet down to, I'd call that about 4 or 5 seconds, somewhere along those lines.
Yeah, 4 seconds, you're up. Yep.
But will this LMP3 make life difficult for the both of them? Up
will.
the inside of the cutting. Oh, taps the wall, does
Yeah.
Dan Bartosh. And that is the chance gone to get ahead across the top of the mountain.
You will see he was very lucky. Very lucky on that one. Look at that. This is also that lovely moment in the afternoon when you get that blinding sun.
Oi.
There we go. He's through now.
So Simon Caplet does give up some time there. It looks like that's Michael Whiting, I think, in the Fishy Motorsports 225 that just went through there.
Yes. There he is there. Actually, was it Michael?
Oh, no.
No.
No, it wasn't Michael. Wait, what?
No.
Hang on a minute.
Rich Curry heads in for... Is this going to be his last pit stop? Going to do 40 minutes there. And now...
Paul Warwick. Paul Warwick was the car that just went by Simon Caplet. It's weird. The livery that shows up on the overlay for the Fishy car is pretty much the same as the livery that Paul Warwick is running. So, not entirely sure where that's come from, but there's our LMP3 leader actually having a couple of goes at getting into the pit box. I think he thought it was maybe a box earlier than it was. This is what happened to Isaac Edwards, meanwhile. There's that compression lock, and I think that's the biggest snap I've seen this race so far. But once again, very well done to only get minor damage on the rear right quarter there.
And then just the frustrating time of waiting for a gap in the traffic to flick that around, which he did, because he ended up going. He's currently running 7th in class here at the moment, down there in 18th overall.
So with that, we have more drivers making their way into the pit lane. Dan Bartosh has decided to call his stint 2 laps early that time, coming in after 15 laps complete. And Michael McMillan at the wheel of the Adrenaline Esports 33 finds his way into the lane as well.
Geez, straight up with
This
the jacks
is...
quickly. Oh, changing it over. So there's your...
Yeah, Brad Hilder jumping in.
Yep.
So we're at the point in the race now where we should start thinking about how many laps are really, or when drivers will be coming in for their final pit stops here. So our leader, Doug Gowans, is good on fuel. He'll come in at the end of 24 laps, and by that point, there'll only be about 15 or so laps remaining in the race. Dylan Gray, I think, is going to be okay as well. Jackson Austin, though, is going to have to come in for a splash and dash a few laps from the end in the second place running Radical. Michael Whiting's on basically the same strategy as Dylan Gray, meanwhile, so shouldn't be too much of a change in the top of the GTE standings. Mitch Curry, meanwhile, having just come into the lane there in the LMP3, well, he's going to have to come in for a splash 2 laps from the end. Remember, the LMP3 can only make 17 laps on a tank, and for our race leader, there is 19 laps remaining.
Even if he did a big fuel stretch, wouldn't be... You don't think it would be enough?
Nah, but I don't think it'd be worth it.
Yeah.
And the driver behind in LMP3, Jared Burns, he's going to have to pit in another 6 laps anyway. So one pit stop remaining for both of our LMP3 leaders. And Scott Bartine, meanwhile, he could probably afford to pit next lap or in 2 laps' time and basically run a full fuel tank to the end.
Yeah, could potentially get Jared Burns, couldn't he, for the 2nd place?
Maybe.
It's interesting. Jared Cole had to do a drive-through as well, too, to serve a black flag. Now, I presume that's probably for all those off-track incidents that he's had to do to basically let those cars through, And so every time, remember, he takes those off tracks, that's going to, a lot of times, count there, isn't it? Doesn't it? It would count as towards your incident points? Yeah. That's the only problem with that. Like, I don't know, maybe if they introduce some sort of smarter AI or something like that just analyzes the pictures and goes, oh, well, clearly, just like what we do. Oh, clearly he moved out of the way to allow the... Oh! Who's that?
That is Caplet that's gone for a little adventure in the S's.
Simon Caplet. Yeah, but I was just get back to AI, it analyzes the pictures or something like that and realizes, oh, well, that's the reason why he's had to go off track is because he's allowed cars through on a blue flag. And, of course, especially up in the mountain, there's not a lot of places that you can go, so you use the runoff area. And then just remove it. But we're not there yet.
No, iRacing's incident detection system is a no-fault system, and it has been that way since the beginning. And yes, it has its critics, and I think the reasoning is justified if you're not a huge fan of the system, but that is the way it is for the moment. And until we can get some... Oh, that was a big lock up there in turn 1 for somebody. Wonder who that was.
Oh. I don't see anything.
Was it Hornibrook? The Corvette behind, potentially? No, Hornibrook's ahead. So that was... who was that in the Corvette behind there? It's Caplet. I think Caplet might have had another issue there. No, it wasn't. It was an LMP3 that had a problem. Or was it? Hang on a minute. Every time I'm going through here, I'm trying to find... It's Paul Warwick. Found it. Yeah, Paul Warwick running deep at turn 1. Fortunately, kept the car out of the wall and still on the track. But once again, no anti-lock brakes on any of the cars in these in this race. So... you got to take good care on the way into these corners. There's so many puffs of smoke that come up around this place.
As we just saw there as well. He's trying to hold off the race leader there at the moment of Dougie.
Bit of a strike of the ground there for Doug Gowans. I presume this race is open setup, so Gowans probably going for a little bit lower ride height to increase the speed down Conrod. Gets held up ever so slightly by Benjamin Hornibrook, but no problem. Yep, into the pits he comes. This is the end of his final full stint. Basically, he has an LMP3 fuel tank's worth of laps to go.
And he gets that perfectly for his pit lane entrance there as well. You can see right on the 49 km/h pit lane speed limit. Now on his screen, just to let everybody know, if you're not a race driver, like I'm not a race driver, I've never driven a lap in iRacing once, but I have seen replay files and stuff like that, and other drivers. They have the little lollipop people will come out, the lollipop man will come out and let Dougie know, this is where you got to sit, mate, which is the second box. There's one just ahead of him there from our pole setter, Dylan Gray. That's how your pit boxes are aligned based on your qualifying performance. So he'll have, luckily, just no hindrance because there's no cars there anyway, and then he'll just get on the gas. He's not taking tyres. There you go.
Yeah, well, only
out.
17 laps remaining. I don't think he really needs to worry about that. And the Radical tires seem to last pretty okay for 2 full stints. So just keep him on the car, and he can cruise to the end from here.
So he's managed to have that gap enough to clear him completely. Like, he didn't do that before. Remember those pit stops? Dylan got back into the race lead, but there it is. So, and Dylan Gray will have to. I don't know if it's just flashing. It's just to try to throw Dougie off. I mean, last ditch effort. Dylan Gray will have to come back down to pit road as well. Last time he pitted was on lap 50. I think he's just trying to do that. Maybe it's hey, you're doing a great job, or let me try to force you into a mistake. But Dougie's old school, mate. You know, he ain't going to fall for that.
No, certainly. Dylan Gray, comparatively quite young. I followed Dylan since he first started in iRacing. I've watched him through various series, particularly on the supercars side of things, and especially in the last couple of years, he's developed in leaps and bounds as a driver. He used to have these big flashes of speed, but really struggled for consistency, and frankly had a lot of trouble keeping the car out of the wall in some places. But especially in the last 12 to 24 months, he's come into his own as a driver, and he really has shown what he can do. It's just a shame that he had to come to a stop. Ian Ward again, and this time he's lost both the front and rear aerodynamic devices. Out of Murray's, big problem for Ian Ward. This is a driver who in qualifying was one to watch, but oh man, that is huge out of Murray's. He already had some damage to the rear end as well before that. Just manages to get going in time for the Kodak Porsche to arrive on the scene.
Well, I was going to say, it's a Kodak moment, isn't it? So there it is. Just that's how much time you have to react once you get on the power there, and you just lose it straight out in the final corner, as you said, Murray. So
hang on. Is he driving with a keyboard?
You reckon?
Like, wind it back, and keep an eye on his steering inputs.
Yep. Got to go back into the. Yeah, we rewind.
Yeah. So like, okay, so the snap, sure, whatever, but so turns it into Murray's, and those are very jerky movements. Okay, so if he's not driving with a keyboard, then he is running an insanely fast steering ratio on his wheel, because the Radical does not respond that way on the steering usually. And we're back with him now, and it would appear that
that could be. Yeah. Well, you know how difficult it is to drive. I mean, I used to do it with the Formula 1 game because I was traveling a lot. It was too hard to take a racing rig around with you. It's high-speed turns like that. No, I don't think that's keyboard there. It's the high speed, the small turns like that. See, it wouldn't be a smooth in like that on the keyboard. You'd have to be
that's weird. Unless he's running unless he's ticked the option for like a variable steering ratio at low speed. That's weird. You know, maybe it's latency as well playing its part, but I just thought that was curious. Well, Gray in for his final pit stop. Going to have 14 laps remaining.
I used to know this guy from Colombia that used to race on a keyboard. He didn't have the money to buy a steering wheel in an F1 league, and he used to beat all the guys on the steering wheel. It was very quick.
Yeah.
And so we did a little GoFundMe campaign and got him a steering wheel.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, it is quite impressive. Obviously, a wheel and pedals are the ideal way to experience a racing simulator. But if you don't have access to it for whatever reason, you can certainly make a gamepad work. Keyboard, probably not so much.
Yeah, there are some people doing iRacing on gamepads, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they're quick.
Yeah, and they're absolute freaks. It's insane.
Well, if you've grown up with them from a young age, Not like myself or Dougie and stuff like that. You know, we never had that available to us from Commodore 64s and all that sort of stuff. You know, you had those wonky, clicky joysticks, but you know, young ones, they grow up with controllers. Absolutely, you know, they got so much accuracy. They're great at first-person shooters and all that sort of stuff on controllers, even quicker than people are with mice. So
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised exactly that they can't be quicker, if not quicker than it's just not the same experience, no doubt, as actually sitting on a nice racing rig with your steering wheel and pedals. Chris Miller's in and Jared Burns.
Yes. So 25 laps done on that stint for Chris Miller. So he managed to stretch it out a little further. And Jared Burns has been in that Black Hawk Motorsport number 58 since the start of the race, one of our single driver entries.
So
and
there
it
you
looks
go.
like
We've got, information out there in the chat. He is racing on a controller. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, he is. All right. Well done to him then. For I mean, he put that car P3 on the grid.
Yeah,
racing on a controller.
I'm just wondering
there you go.
How it is in endurance races on a controller. You just make it sweaty or something like that too, isn't it?
I'd be worrying about my hands cramping up.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a more or less equal chance of that running on a wheel, but I think racing for a long time on a controller would probably be less physically demanding than a wheel, but your fingers and your wrists would probably need a couple of relaxation and stretching exercises before and after.
You said just pulled up the weather there before. As you can see into the sunset here. So the track temperature is 22 degrees. It doesn't change too much on that one with the humidity in the air of 60%. It's been cloudy majority of the race. Just peaks of sunshine every once in a while, but that's about it, mate, at the moment.
Yeah, the sun dipping lower and lower in the sky as we are approaching 7 p.m. in sim time. Ian Ward has not emerged from pit lane since his crash. I believe he may have used all of his fast repairs, so he's just waiting for the car to be fixed up in such a state that he can potentially get across the line. I had a quick read through the rule book as the pit stop is complete there for the number 11 LMP3. I had a quick flick through the rule book for MC Motorsport, and apparently they have a proviso that if you are in the pits when the checkered flag is flown, you receive 0 points for an event. You are not classified, which I found curious, because usually a lot of leagues they will have a sort of minimum classified distance rule. Mm-hmm. Complete more than, say, 50 or 75% of the race, then you will be classified for points whether or not you're in the pits. But apparently that's not the case here. If anyone from the admin team at MC Motorsports would like to weigh in and tell me how wrong I am, you are more than welcome to. Meanwhile, Aidan Harris and Paul Warwick side by side down Conrod, and that is a change for 6th place in GTE, 15th overall. And Paul Warwick, man, he's had a tough one. He certainly had some great performances here, especially with his teammate. He is sharing that car, the number 400, specifically with Matthew Monday. But the two of them have had their fair share of problems. That car is 6 spots down from where it started, so a little bit late in the race to think about any more positions to gain, but all the same, could have been worse. I think you can say that for just about every team out there today.
Brad's gone off track here. Now, has he got damage?
Doesn't look like it.
Oh,
That's at the chase. Yeah, okay, so didn't get into the wall, thankfully.
Just having a look at the driver's name. That must be their endurance livery as well, too, so you can see the multiple drivers that they've got and their names up the top there. as well. There's at least 3 drivers there.
Very nice.
So,
That's,
endurance racing is probably not new to them. And with 3 drivers, you'd imagine they'll probably do at least 8-hour endurances, if not 24-hour endurances.
Yes. Robert Hackwood, Michael McMillan, and Brad Hilder, who is currently at the wheel of that machine.
Trevor!
Oh, no! Another problem for Trevor Mortimer and the Rogue Racing Radical. Can't even get it steered in for pit lane. I think the steering is broken on that car. Can't turn left, which is far from ideal at a track that is mostly left-hand turns. But he will bring it into the lane. 10 laps into that stint, he would have been able to get to the end of the race on that tank, but no traction control in the Radical. A little snap out of the chase and into the wall you go.
That's all it takes.
It was just a little slip. And the Radical is quite a rapid machine. When you lose it in that car, it really takes some care and forethought to correct it.
That's the beauty of having the fast repair button. He's used it up and the car's all brand spanking. It's even got that new car smell. And he will come back out and still in 4th place in class. Yeah, that much of a gap, didn't he, really? So he could continue for that and 9th overall. So still be inside for a top 10 finish, yeah?
Yeah, and all things considered, he's 6 positions up from his overall starting position. Yeah. So despite not having the best run in qualifying, Trevor Mortimer has managed to make some gains in the race. LMP3 in, that's Scott Bartine at the end of his stint. And he will have around about 10 laps or so left to run after this.
Yeah, 20 minutes left.
It would appear
in this race.
Yeah, and it would appear that Mitch Curry has enough of a lead already in the number 89 that you won't have to worry about that. And we've just gotten word from race control. There was an incident that Jared Burns was involved in the number 58. He's been given a 10-second post-race penalty from race control. So despite managing to come out ahead of Scott Bartine with both final pit stops complete for both cars, Burns will ultimately finish behind Scott Bartine there. 3rd in class is the best he can hope for. And it looks to me like that's the only position he's going to lose, because the rest of the field is just too far behind. Middle of Conrod, problem for Isaac Edwards once again. I'll have to wait for the next couple of cars to go by. Doesn't look like the rear end is quite connected to that car. That's a weird spot to see a car stopped, right at the bottom of that valley.
Yeah, and we're going to find out how that happened.
Okay, was it contact with another car? Oh, geez.
We got to rewind.
All right, hit rewind. Yeah. What did he do here? Oh, he hit the driveway. Oh, God. Okay, so maybe a moment of distraction there for Isaac Edwards. He was potentially looking at another screen or distracted by something in the real world. The issue you find is, this being a circuit that's public road most of the year, residents' driveways go right out onto the circuit. And if you go off track down Conrod, you're driving right over those driveways, and they have some hefty bumps in them.
They do. I like that. What was that? 9 out of every 10 dentists recommend LMP3s. But I know a racing driver that is in another league that actually lives on one of those properties there, just off the side there.
Oh, so really?
Actually, I'm very much aware of that.
Wow.
Can't use his driveway obviously in Bathurst weekends, but
probably makes a killing on Airbnb though.
Yeah, I think sometimes when he does that. But once again, let's have a look. Oh, we'd have to rewind that again. I just don't know why that crash didn't go back that, but yeah, once again, here it is. So it's got some speed out of the elbow, as you can see. So there it is. It's just this might be that moment that you've gone to check your phone and taken your eyes off the screen, isn't it?
Yeah, all it takes is a moment of distraction. Oh, Isaac was very lucky not to get more damage from that.
That's why you don't text and drive. If you were, or if he's got a if he's Twitch streaming. Sorry, if Twitch streaming or something like that. You see that sometimes race drivers that stream on Twitch and they're reading their chat at the same time, and then they're kind of looking up at the screen, or one of the other screens.
Yeah, oh dearie me. And bam. Well then, Simon Caplet there, wandering a little bit.
Yeah,
oh
no
dear.
rear wing.
Looks so strange without the rear wing.
They're so tough, but you notice that? They'll smash the whole back end of the car, and yet the rear wing, the actual end plate that's holding onto, always remains. Carbon fibre is pretty strong, but that's all it takes. So whether he'll come in and get that fixed or just continue to drive, always gone off again. So no, that's
exit the chase.
Yeah, I'd say that's a high speed, isn't it? There's no way there's going to have any downforce. And you need
yeah, and cars like this, prototypes are set up very stiff. They have so much aerodynamic bodywork that you need firm springs and firm anti-roll bars in order to really make use of that aerodynamic grip. But once you lose that little bit of rear downforce, it completely changes the behavior of the car. And you might have been dealing with a little bit of rear suspension damage as well, which wouldn't have helped things.
So here we go, getting down to like the final 15 minutes. What's it say on the back wing there? Oh, Mitch Curry's car.
I am going to use my chase cam to check for you.
Yeah. Don't tell Jared we use the chase cam. I'm not a fan of it. But you can tell me. Actually.
It's just a Lowe's sponsorship.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
It said Sir Trash something from the record. But yeah, he's done a solid drive there, Mitch Curry. He's not the biggest gainer of a race, but he certainly is up there 6 positions. Trevor's up 8 for Dan, the man. And Andrew Proctor was probably the biggest gainer, 14 positions up. And he's just down the road there, 6th in class, the number 13. BMW, as Jared is behind the Simple Broadcast Racing Machine. Still in the race. He said he just wanted to bring it home. And he is.
Oh, I see what you mean about the text on the rear wing. Sorry.
Yes.
It appears to be gibberish. C. Trahas Stridet is what I'm reading on the wing.
It was so crashes.
I don't know if that's an anagram.
Okay. We have no Mitch Curry corner that we have in the MC Motorsport sometimes, but he has moments and he has crashes, and we end up nicknaming it the Curry corner. But none of that here this evening. I'm not trying to give you a commentator's curse at there too, Mitch Curry. You're leading in class and doing a solid job there. It's good to see the boss man of MC Motorsport having a great race. Let's have a look at the concentration that he's going to have in that cockpit there at the moment. We've got... I don't have that camera, actually. Sometimes you can see the driver in there.
Yeah, one thing that I'm surprised it's taken me this long to mention is the... oh, look, Mitch is listening in. I think he just heard us. The driving position of the LMP3 is quite interesting, and you find the same in the Dallara P217, the LMP2 that's on the service as well. Because the cockpit is so narrow, but you still need space for the driver to get in. You can't see it from this camera in particular, but the steering wheel is actually offset by a few centimeters to the driving position. Which can really spin you out the first time you get into one of these cars, but that is how they are in the real world.
And there's no space for anybody to ride shotgun either, is there? Even though it looks like it, but it's all full of equipment and stuff like that. And safety stuff.
Yeah. Of course, sports car racing, evolving from the early days of motorsport where you had a driver and a ride-on mechanic. and sports car racing decided to keep that particular part of regulations, but allow space for potentially a passenger to get into the car. But in the modern day, it's basically translated to, the driving position has to be offset to one side or the other. It can't be right in the middle.
Oh, you could forget your McLaren cars then, couldn't you? Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, having said that, the McLaren F1 does have space for passengers. It's just in the two seats behind the driver.
Yeah, a little bit off center to the left and right behind the driver, exactly. So, there's
Such
Dougie.
a weird seating layout.
He still hasn't turned his lights on.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Dougie's not old enough, one of those drivers that, when they keep their turn signal on all the time when they're driving because they forget to turn it off.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think that might be a consequence of the Radical SR8's age compared to the other cars in this server, because I think the SR8 is from a time before we had daytime running lights in motorsports, and in iRacing you can't control the headlights yourself. They turn on at a very specific time. So the fact that every other car in the server has its lights on is just the daytime running lights.
Right.
The Radical apparently does not have that.
You got a fan out there from Wade. I think that's
Yay.
right. Is that me old mate, South Paul?
Yep.
And it certainly is, my friend. You're talking about the Australian voice in the business. I think it's only, Lee Diffie that might be a little bit more popular than you, mate?
I can think of a few more. Yes, indeed. Looks like we've got plenty of mountain men making their way around here. Someone's had a huge off at Murray's, and I'm not entirely sure who, but...
That's it.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it did say he's come off the track there, so I'd have to say it's probably Jared.
Okay.
This might be just to get out of the way. Yeah, it's to get out of the way. I believe it. There's two cars approaching pretty quickly, and Jared has said that to us when we pulled him a couple of times for the interview during it. He said he's just getting out of the way for other drivers. He just wants to bring it home after he had those unfortunate first incident. It wasn't his fault, but the second time it was when he went flipping.
Yes. Still, I'm sure he didn't mean to lock it up on the way into Murray's.
Yeah, of course not. No, it's all intentional.
Yeah.
All
right.
So some more drivers through. There's Dylan, the leader of his class for the GT3s. He's practically always, put it on pole, but he's always led practically every lap in this class. Led a few of the leading laps as well, too, as a leader of the overall race. Jarrett Cole's something again, too. Oh, he's had a spin.
Oh. Elbow.
I wonder if it's because it's getting out of the way of somebody. No, he's locked up. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Maybe wind that brake bias back a little, Jared. Because it seems like he's having a lot of trouble with locking up the fronts.
Yeah. He's listening to the
The
broadcast.
car's definitely damaged now.
There's your advice. Down to 7 minutes, just shy of 8 minutes to go here. Full throttle racing on top there of Dougie. He's got a commanding 17-second gap over Jackson Austin. He's down at the moment having to deal with a bit of traffic as well. No, you're right, isn't it? There's Radicals just don't have. It's not elected by driver. They're just not on. Oh, massive oversteer moment. Goes off into the grass.
Easy.
Yeah, so close to the end now, isn't it? You don't want to throw it away.
No. We've had one more problem for Travis Harris. Looks like a lap or so ago he had a spin at the dipper and lost his rear wing, and he tried continuing on for a few laps, but then had a spin at the exact same location, and he's been granted permission to tow from race control. So that may be race over for Jared Harris.
There you go. Yeah, that's why, because he couldn't go any further backwards. I don't think he can turn around there, and this is also a little spin off the exit. That's another place where you can set up your fold-up chair and enjoy the motor racing action. That's on the final exit. That's been happening with quite a few drivers. It happens quite regularly in all league racing I see in Bathurst, mate.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen it more times than I can count as well. So yeah, Paul Warwick in the other Fishy Motorsports car. Officially, the team is listed as Team Paul Warwick, but I think that might be due to a registration issue. Paul Warwick and Matthew Munday having yet more adventures in their BMW as we're on board here with Jackson Austin. Oh dear. That was a lucky miss.
Close. That was Benjamin heading into the fence there in front of him. As Wade says that there as well too. Kid you not, that was a race that Jimmy played a part in. I guess you're talking about Jimmy Broadbent, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Myself and Jimmy Broadbent shared a car for the official iRacing Bathurst 1000 one year. Nice. You can see his stream. It's still up on YouTube. We ended up finishing third in our split, which was cool.
Nice, yeah. He just did his 23-hour charity event as well too the other day, which is fantastic for the Mind charity, mental health.
I was in
awareness.
race control for that.
Yeah. Nice. As Jackson comes in. Oh, that's pretty quick. You don't get busted for speeding, my friend.
Certainly not. Well, this is going to be the final stop here for Mr. Austin. 24 laps complete on that stint. And yeah, a mere 4-ish laps remaining for him. Wade, that's fantastic to hear, honestly. I do get messages like that every so often about things that I did years ago and people saying, that had a really big influence on, their own sim racing journeys, which is fantastic to hear. I do hope that you're enjoying the show. And we'll be getting to the checkered flag of this one very shortly. This is our overall leader, Doug Gowans, coming up on some traffic. It's
That's
Paul
Jared.
Warwick in the Fishy number 400 and Jared Cole.
Yeah. Just got to have patience for that, do you? You don't want to be just chucking it in. He's got that 41-second gap. He can afford to lose himself a couple of seconds just dealing with a couple of back markers. That's not a problem. Doug is wise enough to know that. But you don't put your nose in places where you want to get it chopped off when you don't need to.
Indeed. Well, I mean, the pace that Doug Gowans has been able to maintain here has been nothing short of spectacular. Oh, dear.
I think he's dropped a couple of places here too.
Yeah, Proctor was up a little bit further than that, I'm sure.
Oh.
Contact. Oh, well, he gets straightened out in the end, but still.
Who was that with?
Was classed in 9th in class. It looks like it might have been Brian East.
Yeah,
Lucky escape there for for the 4SS car, the 764.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Gonna get going. He's got a tow.
Oh, what? Are you serious? What happened to our LMP3 leader? He was already slow.
Is that a gas or something? He stopped. He's miscalculated something with his fuel. He's just completely slowed down and stopped there. There's no
it does show
indication of any damage on that car. Look,
it's dead. Yeah, the car's dead. Did he? He couldn't have blown the engine, surely. I mean, he's. It shows him as 17 laps completed on the stint.
Rewind back a little bit just to hear the engine. See if it just dies off here.
Well, he's accelerating. Oh, it's choking.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to pit. Mitch! You had it! By a country mile! Oh, dear. Well, that's going to give the... That actually complicates the battle for the race win here. Because don't forget, Jared Burns in the Blackhawk 58 is ahead of Scott Bartine. But he has a 10-second post-race penalty to deal with. He is just under 10 seconds ahead of Bartine.
So he needs to just bank this now, doesn't he?
Yeah, he needs to drive the wheels on that thing, off that thing, and get the gap over 10 seconds. Otherwise, he's going to lose the win here.
And this won't help him.
Okay. No, certainly not. A little bit of traffic there from the Kodak Porsche. And the gap to Scott Bartine comes down to... Yeah, 6.5 seconds.
Yeah.
So at the moment, as the white flag flies, we are on the final lap of the race.
Yeah.
Scott Bartine is on course to take victory in LMP3.
And now it's just the indication there. Jared Burns' last lap was a 2:01. Scott Bartine's was at 1:58, so Scott was 3 seconds lap quicker. So I don't think it's going to be enough on that one, exactly with that post-race penalty. That'll give it up to Scotty. And what could have been... Mitch Curry is still in pit lane at the moment for just getting towed back. So he's going to drop the third, maybe even fourth. He's coming out now, so I might just go. Dan gets past him, actually. So Dan will get third in class now. Mitch is going to drop back to fourth. Nobody's touched Dougie all race. He essentially got that lead pretty early. Well, a couple of laps into this race, actually, I think it was. And he eventually got past Dylan. And since then, he's never looked back.
Certainly, and this is going to be just a nice cruise to victory for Doug Gowans. Actually, I don't know if it's my timing that's done a whoopsie here. No, your timing says the same thing. Mitch Curry has managed to get out in third, which I don't think is going to be enough to get second with the penalty for Burns.
That's right.
Yeah, so at the very least, that's going to be third place for Mitch Curry. But only a few corners to go here for Doug Gowans, who has sat behind the wheel of this number 88 Radical for the whole of this 3 hours. And with the best pace of all, he is going to come away with the victory and $100 in cash. A fantastic job here at the MC Motorsport Bathurst Endurance Challenge. Dylan Gray, the man who put a GTE class car on pole for this race, wasn't able to keep up with the Radical on race pace and also had to have that big old stop at the cutting to avoid running into a spun car. It's still going to be a very well-earned second place overall for him, and the win in the GTE class, which is going to grant him free entry into an MC main event of his choice. Fantastic job from Dylan Gray there. And for LMP3, the leaders have already crossed the line. Jared Burns gets across the line in first, but with the 10-second penalty to his name, and Scott Bartine finishing 6.3 seconds behind. That's the win for Bartine and Angus Milne.
And he's celebrating because I think he's got the information from race control that Scott did get the race win, of course, in class. And Dougie's still going around, not doing any victory laps as well just yet as Dylan. But you're right, Mitch Curry should still get that P3 position, believe it or not. I think it was just timing was just taking too long to update on that one. So.
Yeah. So there we go. We're just waiting on some more cars to cross the line here, and we should be able to get our results on pretty shortly.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Looks like Chris Miller, Brad Hilder, and Brian East still have yet to make their way across the line. There's going to be Jaden Bercianu getting across the line, and then it's Brad Hilder and Brian East in the LMP3s concluding the race here, which means we can go through our unofficial results. Well, Douglas Gowans has put on a star drive here today, and he will have the victory in hand overall and in class. Dylan Gray finishes second in the Pacific Esports Racing 152, and Jackson Austin brings it across the line in P3. The top five rounded out by the Fishy 225, Chris Miller bringing that car home, and Alex Zekas brought the JMR 800 Radical home to round out the top 5. Jared Burns crossing the line ahead of the Everything Simulated Racing car, but the 339 of Scott Bartine and Angus Mill will get the LMP3 class win. Mitch Curry will finish in P3 thereafter, leading until the very last laps, if only he decided to come into the pits a lap earlier. Trevor Mortimer finishing in 9th, and outside of the top 10, we will have Matthew Neal rounding it out in the number 5 Corvette. An adventurous race for him, but still a fantastic drive to 10th. So the Caplet Motorsport 99 will come home in P11. Dan Bartush bringing the 195 home in P12 ahead of the Team 4 SS car. Adrenaline Esports across the line in 14th place, with Aidan Harris and Andrew Proctor bringing their cars home in 15th and 16th. Isaac Edwards, Paul Warwick, Jay Woolley and Brian East rounding out your top 20. And then it was retirement territory. Ian Ward ultimately unable to make it back out onto the racetrack after his latest crash, and that's such a shame for the car that started 3rd overall. Racing for James Black, Travis Harris down in 22nd place in car 22. That worked out interestingly in the end. Benjamin Hornibrook, he managed to run to the end but spent a lot of time in pit lane, finishes in 23rd place. Our very own Jared Cole finishing in 24th and 9th place in GTE. PJ Whiteman taking the 10th spot in GTE there, and then Peter Morris and the Fishy Split 3 Jokers made it back out and was able to finish 26th there. Pete Manette, Chris Croton, Dean Power unfortunately retiring from the race despite some very good drives from all of them. So that's going to round things off here for the racing portion of the night. Now we've just got to wait and see if there is anyone willing to jump in for an interview.
I believe there is. I think we got Dylan Gray here at the moment, and
yes,
we'll pull him. We'll probably
all right.
Pull Jared in just in case he wants to say a few words as well too. But first of all, yeah, let's get Dylan.
Yeah, indeed. We'll let Dylan Gray make his way in here, and we'll see what we can do to have a chat to our second place finisher.
Oh, you mean drag him in? Yep.
Yes, please. Thank you. Dylan Gray joining us now. Well, starting from pole position, it was certainly an excellent drive from you. Unfortunately, traffic putting you by the wayside once or twice, but that GTE looked rapid around here.
I think it was on rails, the setup I was using. I just, near the end of the race, I was starting to get a bit tired because it's been a long day for me and that, but otherwise it was an awesome race. Dougie deserved the race win. His car was too much quicker than mine.
Yeah, it was certainly an interesting matchup, the GTE versus the Radical. I noticed that the GTEs obviously had the edge on the straights, but those prototypes, they were right on you all the way across the top of the mountain. Did you have any near misses as a result of that?
I think I had probably 2 near misses through the cutting and all that when there was cars parked there. But otherwise, I think across the top, it was pretty much bang on with certain prototype cars, but other prototype cars were just too quick across the top. So it was good to have the straight line speed down the straights with the GTE.
Regardless, 3 hours done, and you were barely under pressure from any other GTE car, and you've earned yourself free entry into a main MC event. So you're going to be using that very soon, I'm sure. Big congratulations to you, Dylan, and we will see you next time, I guess.
Yeah, thank you.
Dylan Gray coming away with the GTE class win, 2nd place overall. If we can get Doug Gowans in here as well to congratulate our overall race winner. That would be great. There he is, Doug, behind the wheel the whole time. One of many solo driver entries in this event. Once again, rapid pace from the Radical, and it looks like consistency was what was on your side mainly. You weren't the fastest in qualifying, but when it came to the race, you brought everything to the table.
Yeah, well, I guess with an endurance race, you do have to be consistent. And, I was able to do that tonight. I really wish I had a teammate because I'm absolutely shattered. I'm not sure I'll be doing this again. I've got to say, that's the longest race I've ever done. Yeah, but the boys in the Discord were, really helped me out and keep me focused. And, just being consistent on track as much as I could. Traffic could be a bit of a nightmare, of course, and the times between P1, P2, P3, they yo-yo up and down. So, it certainly made it interesting.
Certainly did. Did you ever think about doing anything different in terms of strategy? Because the Radical clearly could make it 24 laps just fine on a tank. A little bit of leeway, though, with the final stint. Only 16 laps from the end was your final pit stop.
Yeah, look, that's just a case of keeping an eye on where the competition is, what they're doing, how they're travelling along. Also trying to look at where I'd come out in regards to traffic. So it just worked out best for me just to run the tank dry and come in when needed, So, it worked out well.
Well, you also have the overall prize for this event in the bag now. What are you going to do with those $100 dues?
Look, I'm very happy about that, and I'm going to donate that to the team. That'll help pay for the boys' upcoming league events that they do. SLM Motorsports and SLM Academy, great bunch of guys. So very happy to be racing with them, representing them. So yeah, the dollars will be going to them.
Excellent stuff, Doug. Well, congratulations once again on the victory. Great drive, star performance today. Hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. I really appreciate the broadcast and RC and all the other guys on track. It was a lot of fun tonight, apart from the pain that I'm suffering from now.
We figured you'd be in a lot of pain, Dougie, but you show these young guns that you're capable of sitting in the car for more than 3 hours too, because you're going to get practice and qualifying too.
Yeah, like I said, buddy, it's never going to happen again. I'm going to say. But yeah, thanks very much, guys. Really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to watching the race back.
Indeed. Well, we'll let Doug Garens go and celebrate his victory and or fall into bed and immediately pass out. I think that's what he's going to be doing.
I'm already in the bed. I've got a bed next to the sim, so...
Oh, that's convenient.
Oh, it is. I jumped straight out of the sim, straight under the bed so I could lay down and stretch out.
Lovely stuff. Well, thanks, rest guys. Well, Doug. You've earned it. And it looks like... I reckon before we have a chat to Jared, we've got Angus Milne and Scott Bartine down there in the interview waiting room as well, our winners in the LMP3 class. So let's bring them in for a little chat, just to talk about the way they're... Milne and Bartine.
Yes, sir.
So... we are joined now by the crew of the Everything Simulated machine. At least Angus Milne is in here. If we can get Scott Bartine as well, that would be great. There we go. All right. And both of you are in now. Certainly that was interesting at the very end for you guys. We'll go to Angus first because he started the car. Starting deep in that LMP3 class, things certainly got interesting when you were trying to work your way around the GTEs.
Yeah, well, off the start, I was kind of just happy to let them go. They were quicker in a straight line, so I could just sit on the back and sit in the slipstream. That kept me ahead of the likes of Mitch and Jared. But as I lost them, I sort of fell back, and that's when sort of time to unleash Scotty's pace and let him in the car.
Well, unleash the pace you did, Scott, as we're bringing you in. When that news came in of the 10-second post-race penalty for Jared Burns and you guys realized where you were at, obviously you got your head down and started kicking.
I sure did, and I was hoping that the tyres stayed off because I did just about 3 stints with tyres, so yeah.
Yeah, the LMP3 tends to be all right on its tyres. How was the car feeling at the end?
It was actually all right. I got it showing 61% on front, and the left rear was 4% on the inside.
Wow.
So, but it still felt stable, so I was happy.
Huh. Okay, fair enough. Well, coming away with the win in class, I don't know if it counts as just one or you both get a free entry into an MC Motorsports main event. But regardless, you guys have managed to earn yourself a great prize there. Didn't finish first on the road, but with less than 10 seconds to Jared Burns, you guys are awarded the class wins. So a fantastic job from the both of you in a race that turned out to be quite a bit of a race of attrition for the LMP3s. Did you guys have any near misses?
I had a couple. I ended up spinning and had to go and use my fast repair. So
yeah, of course.
Lost a bit of time. So yeah.
Yes, that completely slipped my mind there, and it was at a very inconvenient spot as well at the bottom of the S's. There's no room to really get the car turned around properly there.
Yeah, my screen just shunted as I was coming through, and I turned in a little bit too early and clipped the inside wall, and it was just, yeah. But lucky I saved it enough to get it home and fix that fast repair and still keep it in the race.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations once again to the both of you. The win is yours, and hopefully there's many more to come.
Oh, I hope so.
Thanks,
guys. Cheers, guys.
Angus Milne and Scott Bartine there from the 339 entry, and I believe we can have one final chat, Dean, to Mitch Curry, who's down in the interview waiting room at the moment. Yes, the big boss. Unfortunately, with the win in hand, Mitch, it looks like fuel was your downfall.
We just don't talk about that, please. Oh, mate, I was only talking to the boys. I said to them, I said, right, I was just working out how much fuel I needed, one or two laps sort of thing. And I got past, I think it was Pete Morris. He let me go, and I glanced down at my fuel because I'm using a new dash at the moment on my tablet in front of me. I went, oh, all good. I've got 3.9 litres. It only uses 3.3. I've got another lap in this thing. So I went past, headed up the main straight, and as I went through turn one, I glanced back down and saw 1.7. Wait a minute, what's going on here? I didn't realise it's got a rolling fuel thing on it.
Oh, dear.
So I got to about the cutting, and she started coughing on me. So I had massive amounts of fun for about 2 hours and 58 minutes, and then it all went downhill from there.
While a class podium is still nothing to sneeze at, you were able to get out with enough an advantage over your next LMP3 that you still finish third in class and eighth overall. All up, this event from the organisers' side of things was a bit of a one-off, but certainly was a really interesting event, using cars that we don't usually see too much of, especially in the Oz NZ scene, and with a great prize on board as well. Doug Gowan's coming away with $100 in prize money.
Yeah, absolutely. We wanted to do something a little bit different, especially with three cars with, completely different characteristics. You've got the Radical, which is like just a go-kart with a motorbike engine strapped to it. Then you've got the GTE, which is just, like a beefed up GT3 car with no ABS that, a lot of people do love driving. It's a bit of a niche car for some people. But then you've got, the Ligier, the LMP3 car, which has got its own strengths and weaknesses as well. It's really good under braking, really good through the the mid to high speed corners, and then where the GTE just left us for dead down the straight. But getting those lap times so close to each other in all the testing we did, all the mathematics, I'm not even going into that side of things. Myself and Ian Ward spent hours and hours working out, trying to get the power figures right, the fuel, to force the LMP3 to pit 5 times or whatever it had to be, and because of the pit lane transit time, the differences in fuel and tyres. Some cars were doing fuel and tyres at the same time, some weren't. Different refuel rates. But I think in the end, we got it pretty well, and Doug just made it look easy. He drove an incredible race from what I saw, and he's an absolutely fantastic bloke as well. So I couldn't think of anyone more deserving for it to go to.
Yeah, fantastic drives from so many cars in this event. Well, I suppose from an admin perspective, it is on to the next one. What's coming up next for MC Motorsports?
We've got Monday night will be the final round of our French Car Care GT3 Season 4. So that's our last round at Suzuka. So the boys will be fighting hard there to crown a champion. After that, we'll go into a bit of a break for the Christmas period, but in the meantime, I will be planning another one of these 3-hour enduros. Probably mid-December, I'm hoping, but the cars and the track are yet to be finalised. But it'll be something very similar, 3 different cars, completely different characteristics, and we'll just try and get them as close as we possibly can, and we'll just go from there. And then I will actually throw a bit of an announcement out for MC. We have the pleasure of announcing that from the early January in 2026, we're going to be running 2 main series over 10 weeks every week. So Monday nights is going to be MC V8s for 10 rounds, and Wednesday nights will be GT3 for 10 rounds. We'll have 4 seasons a year, work out a few more RC guys, work out the streaming side of things with Jared a bit more, and we'll keep making this league go up and up and up. I think from where we were, 12, 18 months ago when we began to where we are now is, it's an incredible rise. And I couldn't do it without all the admin, all the drivers, you guys yourselves, all my RC guys. A big thank you to Nathan Allen tonight. He did RC by himself tonight and did a fantastic job. He was all over everything. He was calling out sectors. He was calling out, incident spots. He did the full course yellow absolutely perfectly. So I really can't thank Nathan enough for jumping in with us tonight. Big thank you to all the drivers, especially the new drivers that have joined just for this event. We hope to see all those guys back again. Congratulations to Dylan Gray for winning the GTE. He gets a free entry into a MC paid series of his choice. And Scott Bartine and Angus Milne. Unfortunately, Scott doesn't qualify for it because he's part of our admin team, or RC team, I should say. But obviously, Angus is well and truly entitled to his free entry. But just another thank you is you guys. Thanks very much for jumping in. 3.5 hours, 4 hours on a Friday night. Super duper duper appreciative of you guys, as well as all my admin team, everyone at MC, and iRacing itself, I suppose, for providing us this platform to go and do these things from our lounge room.
Absolutely. Well, thanks very much for joining us, Mitch. And hopefully this isn't the last time I'm in the box for one of these events.
Absolutely, mate. I've heard extremely good feedback about you, so we might have to work a few things out and get you back for sure. I'm sure Jared won't mind either.
Yeah, indeed. Excellent stuff. Well, that's Mitch Curry from MC Motorsport there to bring us home here, Dean. That is the end of the broadcast, and wow, what an event that turned out to be. We saw some great displays of driving, and the typical Bathurst chaos continued to reign.
It was an absolute cracker, very, very entertaining, of course, and what a great mix of the cars too. They were right up there. They each had their strengths and weaknesses, and it was proven out there. And the usual Bathurst hiccups that occurred. I mean, of course, the boss man you just heard before running out of gas, but that's because, that software that he had on his tablet, and that happens. And, of course, big thank you, no doubt, to all the drivers that participated, of course, for Jared for setting all this. I push buttons, but he does all the graphics and everything like that. So, he had to do all that work behind the scenes. And, of course, yourself, the voice of Australian broadcasting of motor racing, no doubt there. Rhys, you've always there, and it's always a pleasure to share the booth with you. And of course, as mentioned as well, to all the admins behind the scene, you have to give it to Nathan. He is great race control admin, not just for this series, but also for other series that I've worked with him on too.
Yeah, indeed. I was listening in to Nathan the whole time, and Mitch is right. He was on point the whole way through. Thank you all very much for tuning in over the course of the MC Motorsport Bathurst Endurance Challenge here. We hope that you enjoyed the show, and whenever this event comes around again, which I'm sure it will, you'll certainly see us here at Simple Racing Broadcasts bringing it to you. My name's Rhys Gardiner. We had Dean Hopton, also known as Biggles, alongside me in the comms box and producing behind the scenes. From all of us here, bye for now, but certainly